so...
No, that's fair.
Okay, so now if I pull up this, ideally it should be capturing the game.
And we're live? Okay, it looks like we're live.
Okay. Alright, we just couldn't see it on our window because...
We are having minor technical difficulties today. Hence why we're starting 13 minutes late.
But we should be doing okay now.
Yep.
Because as far as I understand how the streaming stuff works, this should work just fine. Passing the controller back to you.
Alrighty.
Because now that we're in the game, it should show the game.
Is it charging?
Yes, I did check that beforehand. We should not get another low battery jump scare to terrify some of our viewers.
Every time I see this one, my brain reads it as asbestos. Every time I see this save file, I'm like, oh, Desmond's in asbestos right now.
That's fair, he is, but it seems you do want the middle one. The middle of the three Desmonds. You know, we could have a multi-Chris theory situation going on here. Actually, the reason that Desmond does so much shit and has so many things of like weird conclusion to the story is there's not one Desmond, there's three. And the Desmond we play as for most things is the middle child Desmond, but there's two other Desmonds.
That does make sense.
But all of them pretend to be just one person.
Can I just say, we are looking good? Like, we got the armor of Altair last time, we never have to buy armor again, which now that we're at that point, we're going to start buying all the armor for our collection. Like, we're doing good.
We are, in fact, rocking it.
My own people don't even sell any paintings because I already bought them all. Do we need more poison? We've used so much of it this game. Maybe not. Oh, I know.
Well, we have enough cash, I think there's no reason not to own every single thing we can.
True. Should we go for armor first, or weapons?
Are you looking to protect yourself, or deal some damage?
Neither. They're all display items only.
In that case, I don't care.
Oh, don't worry. We're buying full price ones. We just want nice display full price gear. Let's make it hammer time. Oh, we're already almost broke.
I'll just
That's
count it again.
Well,
the way to go.
we're out of money. I should not be the person people listen to for financial advice, but you should probably be buying Nvidia stock right now.
Another capering crusader.
Just unrelated.
Okay, the simple answer here is the moment somebody says, now, this isn't financial advice, usually that's a red flag, to be honest. People use that as a disclaimer for the moment they're about to try and sell you shit all the time.
I mean, yeah. That being said, like, the stock's up like, what is it, 20% this year to date?
I have literally not paid attention to the...
No, it's up like 150% this year to date. It's up like 5% this week, I think. Yeah, basically it's currently the most expensive company in the world, I believe, or most valuable or something like that.
Seems dumb.
Eh.
Dumb and stupid.
It's essentially AI stuff, so yeah, basically.
Just like when graphics cards were through the roof for crypto mining.
I mean, Nvidia.
Until...
One of the graphics.
Exactly, I know. I'm saying just like it was that, and now this. One of the not quite conspiracy theory, but like possible explanation for one of the reasons why the AI stuff gets pushed so hard, other than like the regular obvious reasons.
What, that they needed to actually make use of all the shit they've been selling?
Yeah, exactly. All of the people who had these massive like crypto and NFT farms and stuff, you know, needed some other thing they could, you know, sell people that lets them use all that hardware they bought.
Makes sense. But no, it's a great time to put all of your money in there and then lose it like in 3 weeks. Great time for that. I guess we are headed towards Lawrence, probably? Yeah, sure.
Okay. Trying to link us properly. And I did the same stupid mistake I always do when doing so. Well, not always, but my single most common mistake when trying to link things is copy message link, not copy media link.
Yeah. I do the exact
Because
opposite
it
thing.
starts with the same letter, okay?
I have the same exact opposite problem, reverse birth mode, whenever I copy and paste anything for quotation purposes. I just copy the direct link to it. It doesn't work. It does not work. I hate trying to link quote stuff on my phone.
It's not good. It's so not good you could actually perhaps, maybe, might be pushing it, call it bad.
Yeah, the other option is like the only other option is using the desktop, and who wants to use my desktop? Like, you want to use a laptop if you want to be sitting somewhere quoting shit. You don't want to be doing that on a desktop. Desktops are for gaming and nothing else. Wait, big purchases. Desktops are for gaming and big purchases. Everybody knows.
I throw all kinds of useful stuff onto my desktop. I've got like a little thing where I keep track of stuff. I throw my water bottle on there. Usually I'll have like a pack of gum, a notebook.
And all of those assist you in your gaming or your big purchase decision.
No, those are just literally on the top of my desk.
Yeah, exactly. Almost threw my sword on these
I
guys.
hate it when
That
you
would have been
bring the
awkward.
scontadini act of...
A deadly mistake, to be sure. Yeah, hey, Civil Road, we've definitely gotten a lot further over time. We did some estimating a couple of sessions ago where we thought we were maybe halfway, and we've done a little bit since then, so I'm guessing, I don't know, 3/4? It kind of depends on how long we spend doing additional content and 100%ing things.
Mm-hmm.
We already 100%ed our super special secret armor. I don't know if we had any other specific things we're planning to do all of. Were we planning to do Eco Feather?
Oh, not all of them, no. We wanted to do the Codex pages.
Codex pages.
And we also want to get the truth.
Gotcha. I knew there was something else we wanted to get. But we couldn't remember exactly. So, yeah. So yeah, we'll skip the really onerous stuff like viewpoints.
Look, I see no reason we should expand the map. What
Yeah.
kind of assassin needs information?
I think we've only actually synchronized like 4 viewpoints this entire playthrough, and one of them was the tutorial.
I'm honestly not sure it's been that many, but...
I'm rounding up just for safety's sake.
I guess I've been doing them more and more as we go along.
But yeah, so yeah, doing the truth and the codex pages will probably add maybe an extra session's worth, depending on how on point you are with it,
Yeah, that sounds about
to
right.
the total runtime. So we'll have to see how far we're able to make it and how long it takes us to get there. It's gonna be a fun ride either way. And if nothing else, we get to use bad Italian accents for the entire time,
Die, cunt!
which is the greatest joy that this game gives you.
It really is.
Requiesca in pace.
Yeah, it's not coming to me. Ezio da Fuente.
Exactly.
Most entertaining!
The Requiesca in pace is the only part of this thing I know.
Yeah, the
I don't care about
closest
any of it.
I come to it is the Boondock Saints. Speech prayer thing they do when they kill people.
But that's not something that ever stuck in my head, so I don't care.
Yeah, I grew up watching Boondock Saints way too many times, to be honest. Shepherds we shall be, redeem our Lord for thee, power hath descended forth from thy hand, so our feet may swiftly carry out thy command. And we shall flow a river forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall ever be. Illuminatio Filii, Spiritus Sancti. Anyway, it's burned into my memory.
Understandable.
It's a good movie. Some bits didn't age well, but I'm sure about, I think, every movie I grew up with.
He'll kill him! Bashful type, is he?
Home invasion. Save Lorenzo from the Templars. Oh, this mission's been sitting around for a while.
We just kind of completely ignored it, huh?
Yep.
That's our specialty.
Apparently, Lorenzo was fine. These corpses haven't even had time to rot.
What happened here? Signor
Very
Lorenzo!
convenient that we had exactly enough time to do all
Lorenzo's
this
currently
stuff
indisposed.
and then have this happen.
Hey, you're the one who killed Francesco de Pazzi.
How could they
Get
possibly
it.
know that?
With
Lorena
pleasure.
could.
And a completely different outfit.
He's there, on him!
You know, it's truly a miraculous power that they can look on you
Fire!
and immediately cease to be incognito. The control of the narrative is
Terrifying.
yeah. Oh. An Assassin's Creed related topic that I've been reminded of. Well, several actually. Because I've been seeing more and more news about it.
Release
lately.
me. Order.
Mostly because there's a new game here. And the magic thing and some pieces of news. So one, we have seen, we've gotten a few more pieces of information about Shadows coming up. And while I haven't really been watching any detail, you know, every now and then like an article headline pops up and lets me know something interesting.
Okay.
One thing is something that they're taking out. But apparently they are removing social stuff as a mechanic in Shadow.
Oh.
With more of an emphasis on traditional stealth when you are playing the stealth character and not on stealth when you are not.
Interesting.
I don't know the details of the implementation here, but they that is apparently the change they're making.
Well, I'm interested.
Also, Under Monkey, you are correct. They probably are just assuming that if anybody's dead, it's Ezio.
That's fair.
Say maybe it's standing orders to assume that. Yeah, that's actually probably pretty fair.
That's more logical than any of the other excuses we had.
Oh, our co-conspirator, you know, fell over a rampart into the water and drowned. I bet it was that assassin again. But yes, they're doing away with social stealth, which is interesting. It has been kind of de-emphasized a little bit in later games.
Mm-hmm.
You do have more like kind of regular, like, oh, sneak into the camp and like kill everybody there, kind of like missions and more the open world ones.
Yeah.
And I can understand how you could have less social stealth in those, though I think the last one I played in Parts of Odyssey, you still could do social stealth. You know, you could go in there and, like, you know, hide in a crowd to spy on people in the city or whatever when you're in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Social self was kind of
Well, it's kind of interesting because it's
gimmick compared to like a lot of the other parkour
That's kind
games.
of the one thing that Assassin's Creed does really differently from most stealth games. Because every stealth game will let you, you know, climb on things, hide under things, you know, kind of traditional stealth methods. And especially because Assassin's Creed doesn't really have like the crouch, hide around the corner kind of stealth really built in the way we see it usually.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you're playing, you know,
It's not PS1 stuff.
yeah, it's not like you're playing Dishonored or Thief or something. Because Assassin's Creed stealth is mostly climb something and just jump from above, or the social thing. Those are the kind of the biggest ways of not being seen, comparatively. I mean, obviously there is things like, oh, you know, hide in the bush, call the guy over, you know, that kind of come up more and more through the games. There were some really frustrating levels there where you had to do that kind of stealth in Assassin's Creed 3 that I remember clearly. Where it's like, oh, you know, gotta go destroy, you know, all the guys in this fort or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind
Or
of
stealth as a boat.
yeah. So it'll be kind of interesting to see where exactly that leads with this this change. I guess this could very easily be kind of more part of the
I think they saw me.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it could very much be kind of just part of, you know, the ways of differentiating the two main characters. But
Yeah, I don't.
yeah, I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but it will depend a lot on implementation. So
It could be really cool if they really lean into the stealth aspect of the stealth gameplay and really emphasize it in a cool, unique way. Like, if they incorporate this... Like, I can't say it'd be social stealth anymore, but if they incorporated, like, how a lot of shinobi in history were the lowest class, often had connections to, like, grave diggers and the like. If they incorporated that as the social stealth element, where it's just, you have ways to build up threats slower, or build up awareness of your enemies slower, it could be really cool.
yeah. And traditionally, you know,
I'd be excited to see however they implement it.
yeah. So that's only
just a
something
little
we'll be able to
worried.
see as it comes out. It is a weird change, but you know,
It's not a good sign, but it's not inherently a bad sign.
yeah. And of course, you know, this doesn't necessarily mean it's a permanent departure either. Shadow, with these Assassin's Creed games, I guess you ever know, some things they do it once and it becomes a thing forever, but also sometimes they try something and then immediately bail.
What? One-off game mechanics?
So
That's
if they make
silly.
that change and it kind of sucks, you know, for those parts, then they probably just won't do it next time unless they do. So really, it's just entirely down to the future of gaming, and just wait and see.
Well,
See what
that's
they do.
all that matters. The future of gaming.
Yes, the future of gaming is, you know,
Trying to remember how to do the wall.
you run directly up the wall and then sideways while you're running up, or during a briefing when you're stopped.
Oh, right, now I remember that's not quite how it is. Oh, never mind, don't even need to.
My point is that that's how it looked, at least.
Yeah, no, it's... Essentially, yeah, it's just, slightly different from that. And my brain's suddenly forgetting how.
So, understandable.
Oh, right, it's... You run up the wall, and then when you're high
I
enough
know
up,
I
you just
heard a
point in the
noise
direction
down
you wanna
there.
go and then jump.
It's time
Yeah.
to earn your florins. I want half of you to search the courtyard, the other half come with me to check the chapel.
Sì, capitano.
Then we check the secret passageways.
What about Lorenzo?
By now, Lorenzo is already dead.
Well, that's the smartest thing I've heard anybody say in the past 5 minutes.
Yeah. Out of character. Okay.
You've been affected.
Yeah, not that important. What are they gonna do, tell me?
Well, we'll certainly try.
Hey.
Other than that, I haven't. But yeah, other than
Deep
the,
effort.
yeah, other than this, I haven't really heard anything directly much about
let go of me.
Shadow since like the last session or two, or whatever. Last time we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was a particularly interesting direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. I'll be excited to see how they choose to implement that.
Yes, I am 100% ready to sword fight against Yasuke.
Oh yeah,
In 2.3 years when we get to that game.
that'll be fun.
By then we'll already know if it's good or not. Before we even start playing.
True.
Okay. Or at least we'll have heard rumors, we'll have to decide for ourselves. But yeah. The other thing that's kind of interesting in news
weird.
is hearing more about the
They didn't even use a ladder. Why didn't they drop the ladder down?
oh look, I went back up in case I fall.
I'm just saying, this is a stairway, it's an open door, we're getting the red carpet treatment and I don't like it.
But yeah, the other thing that's kind of coming out lately is the magic set. There's been some more spoilers with regards to that.
That's what, not in Horizon 4, is that
I
it?
think it's supposed to be its own, like... I don't think it's part of Modern Horizons. I think it's technically like its own, like, mini set or something. I don't know the exact release technology involved. And then we'll keep pointing out that this whole thing might be a trap.
Why would it be a trap? This looks perfectly safe. It's even got, like, Resident Evil mentions. And when has a Resident Evil mention
that's
ever
true.
been
This,
a trap?
This actually looks literally like exactly like the vaguely Spanish mansion that you go to in the castle section of 4.
Okay, this is definitely a trap.
This literally looks like that.
Lorenzo de Medici only hides 500 florins in his secret Resident Evil boss fight room.
Well, you gotta consider.
I don't
could be
believe
the
it.
Decoy Florence.
Yeah, and there's only 500? I'm calling it. That's some bull. These are the Medicis. This was literally the most powerful family in multiple eras of history.
Lorenzo de Medici. Yes, I think it's some kind of mini set of its own, but maybe like a commander thing or whatever. I don't think it's a Modern Horizons. Or like, I don't think it's part of a set. I think it's a
Okay.
product of its own kind. But we've been hearing getting some new stuff, which is like a lot of Magic sets, gives you like weird back alley lore confirmation of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been sidelined or partially mentioned before, but like it seems like we're going to be getting a lot of pieces of Eden that were never really like elaborated on appearing as cards based on the films I've seen so far.
Right, like
Which
sort of Eden thing.
which specifically has a card for Excalibur, which is a Sword of Eden. A piece of Eden that is a sword. I assume is what that means.
Yeah.
Where there should explicitly there have been mentions of those kinds of things. It's like implied that Excalibur was a piece of Eden, I believe, but I don't think it's ever been like strictly like clearly stated in a main product or anything.
Might have been in like a comic, would be my guess.
Yeah, but now it's been canonized in Magic. You can equip you can play the Excalibur piece of Eden and equip it to your legendary hero.
Yeah, it's vaguely similar to
It's like reverse Colossus.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of that. I was thinking of the Blackblade Reforged with the equip legendary mechanic.
Yeah, that is kind of
It's a Colossus Hammer married to a Blackblade Reforged, and it's kind of sick.
Yeah.
It's like plus 10 plus 0 and Vigilance or
Yeah,
something?
it's like plus 10+0 and like Vigilance and something. Maybe Haste?
No, it definitely doesn't have haste, for example. I know that.
Yeah, it was. There was some other keyword on it though. Maybe it's a creature or something defensive. I don't remember. Point is, pretty powerful stuff. It looks like legendary creature synergy and legendary themes is like a big thing, especially because this Excalibur, like we seen had the historic keyword yet.
Oh, true, right.
Which not only implies that legendary stuff and artifacts are a big focus of whatever micro set of Assassin's Creed, it also implies it's going to have sagas. Because legendary triggers on sagas also.
True, yeah.
It's
Those
not
sagas
necessarily-
are, like, not quite evergreen, but sort of evergreen.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like, oh, we'll bring it back in set where places where it's appropriate. Usually places with usually enchantment focus, like some stuff that goes with sagas, but I could totally believe putting like major historical events in as like that involve like assassins or whatever.
JFK, float away. What else do I have to say? 3 perfect lines for a saga.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, so I could 100% see some sagas as like fitting into something like that.
He looks familiar.
So we will see. Also, I missed it while we were getting distracted talking about this nonsense, but and then what he also said. First, didn't he basically invent modern banking? To which the answer is, I believe, yes.
More or less, yeah. Because banking, when his father came into power, if you weren't Jewish, you weren't allowed to make a profit for it, I believe, because it was considered a sin by the church. And then the Medicis bought the Pope. They invested a crap ton of money into the
Lorenzo!
papal campaign to decide who the
Someone, find
Pope
a way
was.
to get inside
Also,
there.
you are right. That drop kill
You heard
was
him? You two,
Smooth.
get them
Thank
out!
you. But yeah, they invested a bunch of money into bribing cardinals into electing the person they wanted as Pope. And in doing so,
And that worked so well for them.
Enough!
so well. Yeah, the downside of putting ultimate power on the continent in the hands of someone not only loyal to your pocketbook is that might not always be true.
Indeed.
Yeah, eventually they gained, making him the Pope allowed them to gain control of the papal bank accounts, which were the largest in the world, and they were able to sneak their way into having a shit ton of influence. If I remember correctly, they were building famous church in Florence, I'm forgetting the one, and in the middle of a plague happened in the middle of building it. They got blamed for it for usury, I believe is the term for.
Yeah, that's the like banking
and like
money lending.
They kind of lucked into right as they managed to start turning things around, the plague broke or something like that. There's some story around it. I'm blanking on the details. I think they had people inside the church at the time.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is first that getting access to the papal bank accounts also means you get access to the secret Vatican vaults full of magic items.
True.
Which is essential to equipping your high-level adventuring party on quickly and quietly.
Those bitches were wheeling along.
Quietly is maybe not the right term, but you get the idea. Depends on how good you are at sneaking into vaults.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, slight side note. We should definitely play some kind of more traditional stealth game as one of our break items somewhere between all these. After playing, all of the Assassin's Creed, go immediately see if we can apply our skills to some other stealth game, and then sit there and compare it the whole way through.
That could be cool. Yeah, that'd be exciting.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have to play the entire thing if we don't end up enjoying it much, but that could be kind of a fun experience.
Time to return to the OG Metal Gear Solid.
Do 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 do.
Oh, that sounds like a nice reaction.
Snake? Snake! Snake! I think we're good.
Yep.
Especially because you got to consider, if you're playing a Metal Gear game, you are getting you are getting drowned in Kojima-isms,
True.
which is something to be concerned about.
Are you about to take revengeance?
Only if we start playing a Kojima game. And I'll say I love Kojima stuff sometimes. I'm a big Death Stranding fan, so I haven't quite finished it. Don't spoil me anything.
As someone who hasn't played very many Kojima games, they have had a outsized influence in my vocabulary for sure.
Look, the man has a way with way with vocabulary sometimes, and other times absolutely does not.
I love how they just put in that ladder and the poles just so you can show off a little.
Yeah.
Lorenzo put those there specifically for SEO.
That is actually maybe literally true.
Get back! Lower your sword. It's me.
Ezio, again you saved me. First they enter my church, now my home.
I'll hunt them down. They
gonna
won't
be
come
a
near
good
you
game.
again.
Look around you. This
It
is
doesn't
one of
take
my
only the
treasures.
slightest tweak to make
You're
it sound
entitled
like
to take
a retro
anything you
game.
wish from it. In thanks for
I
what you've
feel
done.
like Assassin's
I trust my
Creed.
apartments are safe.
Artyom, is that you, Artyom?
Thank you
I
for
feel like
this
you could
most
also go in
gracious
the
gift.
noir direction.
I must go, but I will come to you again when all the Pazzi are dead.
I could easily see a
will
modern
not forget
person
what
who
you've
isn't
done.
trained like an assassin but has their
Wonderful.
bloodline using eagle vision to solve mysteries. Okay, I know they could do it. Oh my god, you could do a Columbo. You could
totally do a Columbo.
get a crime and you can see with your special magic eyes who did it. Now you just have to prove how. It's not a whodunit, but a how did it, or a how catch it.
This is the ultimate reverse Clue house rules. I hope I made good money on it.
I would 100% a Columbo style mystery where you just he's the one who did it. Now find some fucking evidence.
I actually really
Could be so cool actually.
I rewatched the first episode of Columbo.
That's the only one I've watched, but it was good.
I got like half an hour in and I'm like, when does the Columbo come in?
Yeah.
It takes so long to introduce him.
My understanding, he's a little bit more on screen past the pilot, but
The
he only shows up 3 times.
For those who never watched the 1960s era TV show Columbo, might have been 70s.
I think the pilot came out and the actual series started 2 years later. So it could be that you're correct on both counts.
Could be. Anyway, for those who never watched it, it spends the first half hour before introducing the crime, introducing the obvious criminal. It puts so much effort into this. It's literally a half hour before the crime gets committed, before Columbo shows up, before anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Columbo is kind of a masterclass in that it is the inverse of the traditional detective story. as one reviewer, like, I think... I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but it was one reviewer, I think he said it after the Columbo came out, but I remember reading about that review, like, on Wikipedia or something.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas the traditional detective story is the whodunit, you see the events that have happened, and you, along with the character, trying to figure out who did it. Columbo is the opposite. It shows you the crime. It shows you it being committed. It shows you who did it. It shows you how they did it. The question isn't who did it. The question is how does he get caught? Which is why instead of a whodunit, Columbo is a how catch him, a reverse detective story.
And if you don't expect that going in, you are so confused.
And this is why you know the getting the art of a Columbo story down just right. Like he only does have to show up like a couple of times for short scenes, because the real narrative is okay. Here is the criminal setup beforehand. Here is where they commit a crime, accidentally or intentionally. Here is how they try and hide their crime. They're very smug about it until Columbo shows up, puts them just a little bit off balance. They start trying to hide their tracks more and more until they slip up. And at which point he just explains that he knew the whole time and was just waiting for that or whatever, you know. And the level to which he has precognition and foresight in the cases varies by the crime, is my understanding. But you spend the majority of the show following the criminal. You know.
It's really interesting, and I'd recommend watching an episode.
Some people have an excellent grasp of the Columbo formula.
Our favorite Columbo story.
I've got two. I've technically got two. But after Columbo kind of got popular again, like 2 years ago, there was like a resurgence. People were watching Columbo and talking about Columbo like crazy for like a couple of months, and it kind of trailed off. It's still more popular than it has been in like decades over the last couple of years here. But a lot of people were doing stuff like that. Some of it's just, you know, basic comments like, oh, you know, the classic, like, you know, back and forth quotation about, like, oh, you know, Columbo solving death notes and shit, you know. Just, you know, oh, you know, I there was no way I could have killed him. I was nowhere near there. Ah, you know, I see. But anyway, you know, just a fun little thank you. I wasn't telling you about all these, you know, these local myths about the Shinigami, you know. Interesting stuff, you know. Just, you know, dialogue stuff people would do like that. It was, of course, really fun. There was two main things that I remember that stuck out with me, though. One was a classic criminal case applied to a superhero setting, wherein evil super Nazi supervillain commits a murder, hides it, and thinks, man, nobody will ever figure this out until, of course, Columbo happens, which is a masterclass. Another one, though, that I saw, somebody did a full, like, 10-page comic that was involving Frasier. I think it was.
It was. I think
Captain
if
Frasier.
it's what I'm thinking.
It's like, okay, they like commit a murder and like go to like hide it, you know. It's a whole thing.
Power doesn't die.
I'm pretty sure you could literally just
Passed
find
on.
like Google Frasier Columbo or whatever. It's like the first mention of them. It was good. It was another one of those like this guy gets the formula.
Power doesn't die, it passes on.
So we have to find a spot. Oh, is it on the table there? So Roosevelt
Houdini
had
beginning
the
with
apple.
Chinese water torture cell escape. 196.
Alright. Enough Columbo. Back to the Assassin's Creed, at least for the moment.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is it in the guy's hand on the bottom right? I wasn't sure. Maybe. Oh, is that right there on the right side of the mantle? Just a little right?
Oh, I see, yeah. Gandhi during the Salt March. These are so much better than the AI images.
Man, this stuff gets round. I feel like my brain saw it but didn't quite register it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in a similar rhyme.
We are puzzle masters. Don't worry about it.
We'd be such great Columbos.
Well, Mr. Anderson, one more thing.
Oh, there it is.
That would really blend it in.
Mm-hmm. 14, 5, 2, 3.
That's cold and unlocked. Alright, we have 3 out of 16 tree fragments. Looks like more than 16, so we're out of 20.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think they're probably right about 20.
So, we collected another piece of the truth.
Yeah.
I like this aspect of Assassin's Creed. Honestly, it's probably the thing that hooked me on the entire series.
The secrets.
In the same way I like the secret world, where it's sort of augmented reality, it kind of leans into that.
It kind of really works in, like, you know, kind of the historical mystery.
Yeah.
Playing it kind of gives you similar, like, certain parts of it at least. Playing it kind of gives you similar vibes to something like the Da Vinci Code or National Treasure.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Honestly, even Indiana Jones and the like, too.
Yeah. I think Indiana Jones is a little further off because of the stuff that it uses is a little bit more far out compared to the kind of historical mystery stuff some of these others use.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, the first one, I think, is the most reasonable in that sense. Right? Well, okay, 1 and 3 are both kind of like that. 2 is farther off, but that's true in general. Same with Crystal Skull and all that stuff. But because 1 and 2, like, okay, the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail, those are things that you can kind of totally, you know, work in that kind of story.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way it does it is kind of a little less. They're a little more adventure, a little less mystery.
Honestly,
compared to this kind of thing.
It feels kind of a little more Lara Crofty, maybe.
That's fair. That is probably kind of in that same vibe. I only really ever played one Tomb Raider game, one of the remake ones. I have been meaning to play the like classic remake trilogy thing that came out like this last year.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think I've really played a Lara Croft since like the original 2.
I do technically own like the original 4. The problem is I can't run.
Ooh.
Like my computer crashes the second I try to boot it.
Have you tried running a virtual operating system?
Well, like I said, I'm sure I can. I just haven't bothered enough to do it at the moment.
Honestly, fair.
I was like, oh, you know, boot it up and play it, and just immediately crashes. Like, oh, not today again. I'm kind of a little bit bad. I have the sequel to the Tomb Raider stuff one. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I think is the specific one. I think Rise of the Tomb Raider was like the first soft reboot in like
It was.
2016 or whatever it was.
It was, yeah.
2013. Which I played like some years after. Which I honestly thought like there are problems with it. Boy, are there problems with it. There are weird vibes. But aside from the weird vibes, fairly fun game.
Honestly,
It kept me hooked pretty well. Like I played through that in a couple of days, and I don't do that very often.
yeah,
I
no,
just kind
you
of
do
kept.
not.
I just kind of kept playing forward. Like, oh, what happens next? What happens next? Like it wasn't
Dude.
really driving me the same way like a really, really tight mystery does, but like it was compelling enough to keep me playing pretty reliably, which says something right there for itself.
It's all you can really ask.
And I did enjoy the experience. I thought that the kind of forced melee combat was kind of bad and clunky the way this game handled it.
Okay, but why are these even here? Like, what's the purpose of this?
Grapevines.
Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
The equivalent of having a small herb garden in your
Yeah, no.
on your deck, but for Italy.
Everyone needs their own vineyard.
But yeah, Melee was kind of weird. Some of the puzzle stuff was kind of clunky. It kind of like was more open world than I felt like it needed to be for the way the game was structured.
That's a pretty common problem these days.
That is true. Some weird narrative stuff and very gratuitous deaths.
Okay, HBO.
Like it was doing like it had gratuitous like death scenes the way that like Dead Space does practically.
Are we talking like Final Destination levels, or
Like Not so much, but more that, like, once you are dead, in a lot of situations outside of, like, just standard combat stuff, it would drag on, like, a surprisingly long cutscene leading into it or whatever. For a lot of them, it doesn't just, like, give you an immediate game over, it's gotta, like, really drag it out. Which in Dead Space is kind of used to in horror.
Yeah.
And it's a horror game, so that makes sense, but it feels kind of weird in a Lara Croft game.
It makes sense to me because it's kind of a callback. Like, remember back in, what was Lara Croft 2, I think?
I never played it.
Okay.
So I already said that, remember?
Right. Well, this is one of the more famous Lara Croft deaths I know of. Because she finds a statue, if I remember correctly, that has Midas's curse on it. Like, actual, straight up, you touch it, you turn to stone. Midas curse levels. I think it's a statue anyway. But she gets turned to stone and it's drawn out. And honestly, it might have been the first game.
That's very
But it's... So it's been part of the brand identity since the early days. So it doesn't surprise me.
My understanding here is that it kind of it feels less like, just like... A lot of it's just kind of like... Not like, you fell for a trap or whatever, though. But like, there's actually almost no, like, real Tomb Raider comparatively. Which is, another thing people got upset with. They were kind of trying to do a little bit more turret sort of thing.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, which is, like, not the worst. It's a fair fit for the character conceptually. It's not a bad origin story thing.
Still not a fan of the whole, make our game like something else. Make your game like whatever your game's supposed to be about. Don't make it like someone else. How are you different from
basically,
Uncharted?
The kind of drag that's one of those things people found, a lot of people kind of compared it with kind of just being excessive, like kind of stuff. Like, okay, it definitely does feel kind of excessively cut, especially like there's this whole bit at the beginning that's like really drawn out. It's like the first major piece of gameplay in the entire game is like repeatedly trying to get away from this dude. Like over and over. And it's like,
I love an extended tutorial I can't get out of.
Yeah, the extended tutorial of, like, getting attacked by this, like, savage islander just, like, trying to grab her. It's kind of got some new vibes. I'm hoping that it's a little better when I eventually play the sequel, but I have not gotten around to it. I don't know when I will. It'll happen eventually, I'm sure, but, there's always games to play, so sometimes it's, not right off the bat.
That health bar looks ridiculous. I don't think I've ever had that one.
That's because Ezio has been doing so much parkour that he is now jacked. Bullets bounce right off his muscles.
I thought it was he realized he had exactly identical Gert Altair.
Which is mostly the fact is, actually, Ezio is immune to bullets. It's just not relevant because guns don't exist yet. For the most part.
True, the only people who use guns are Ezio.
That's one of the things you can do. It's like, oh yeah, you can like point a character and go, actually, they're technically immune to firearms. It should never come up. You can fish it like that all the time. Phoenix Wright is immune to fall damage.
Makes sense to me. Well, I'm surprised he hasn't nearly fallen to his death in pursuit of a case.
He has.
Oh god.
That's how I know he's immune to fall damage.
Of course he has.
One of the cases has this thing. You go to a flashback case before this happens in real life. For the flashback case, there's this bridge that's like 50 feet over a raging river. The kind of river that like people fall in there, they don't come out.
Okay.
Like it's like the most fatal river like in the continent. It's like, this thing's dangerous as hell. And also, at the point, half the riverbed is like dry. You can just literally like be dashed to death on the rocks depending on like where you fall.
Okay.
With the supposed
very lethal, gotcha.
With the case, the historical case being like, oh yeah, this escaped convict like kidnapped this girl, like threw her over the edge, and she like was never found. And like it wasn't weird. Like that's just what happens if you fall in.
Yeah.
But anyway, later, of course, Phoenix, he falls in, and he's actually totally fine. Like, he tries, what it is, technically mild spoilers, but, this is for the first game, Actually, I think it's technically the second game. Whatever. This is a spoiler for the opening to the game. But so what it is the after a lightning strike, the rickety wooden bridge across the thing is on fire, and he runs across the burning bridge, which collapses under him, sending him plummeting into the river. He kills you when you fall in the river, and he gets fished out. The only thing wrong with him is a nasty cold.
Are we sure he's human?
Well, he might be a phoenix, but I don't have any proof of that.
Smart choice. Now for now.
But the point is, this is why I'm convinced he's immune to fall damage. Because the only person who ever survived that we know of who survived going down there deliberately did it, and even then they were taking their life into their own hands. You know? But like, yeah, he just like literally falls in off a burning bridge, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, he got a cold from being in the freezing water of the river. He didn't like get a single actual physical wound. So this man might be immune to blood force trauma, and this is why he's able to participate in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Not how I expected that to end, but that's
I think it is just like, you know, reassuring fact, like, okay, Phoenix Wright can go in there and he can use his lawyering to win a fight versus Galactus. I think that does mean that he has a certain... it might be a limited immunity, but he has a certain level of immunity to physical harm, okay?
That's fair. I will say, when it's Galactus, beating Galactus is both incredibly impressive because it's all but impossible, and not impressive at all because it's Galactus. So
he is kind of the ultimate jobber villain.
Not even the Worf effect. Just he's the ultimate like Marvel DC style like super monster, so powerful and primordial that any way you choose to use to beat him is probably going to be incredibly dumb. Which means he can only be beaten by really dumb methods.
That's fair. And I do feel like serving in the court order would...
It feels like a fair way to beat him, yeah.
It's like a Monty Python bit.
Exactly.
He's bearing down, going to destroy the universe. And like, you know, you blow a whistle. Hold on, you just violated this. And just call the police who just manacle him and haul him away.
Galactus is a Monty Python villain. Exactly. Okay, what do I need to have?
This is what Sir not appearing in this film used to try and destroy Arthur. Call the cops on him.
Okay, we are headed.
Sir not appearing in this film is, of course, an Assassin class servant.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Of related notices, there is somebody who wrote a very, very excellent, very funny fusion of the Monty Python Holy Grail and Fate Stay Night.
That sounds
the original.
amazing.
I think it's called like Inaccurate Legends or something like that.
Oh, that's fair. Yep.
And the thing is like, oh yeah, King Arthur is literally like from that, and like there's a lot of like gags about this, and all of the other servants are like characters from that, except Archer. Archer is still there.
Of course, Archer is.
Archer dies constantly, but keeps coming back. With his gimmick, he can only die once a chapter. He immediately comes back at the start of the next chapter.
I'm not sure if that's shitty Hercules or upgraded Hercules.
And you know, some wacky stuff. Freaking, I don't remember like exactly who, but like, oh yeah, the rider, their mount is the coconut. Which everybody like, you know, it's like only like, you know, the other knights see, but like as you go, I'm sure it becomes more and more in tune with Saber, who is Holy Grail King Arthur in this case, except also fake King Arthur, until eventually he can see the horse, you know, because he's on their wavelength.
Oh God!
See, it's such a majestic steed.
Is that when he develops his reality marvel because he has such a skewed perspective on reality?
He doesn't actually get his reality marvel in the traditional sense, but he does get a snake sword. After like the caster, who I think was a bid character from that, I don't remember clearly though, like zaps something and like turns into a snake, and he like reinforces the snake into a sword, and wields it as a valiant friend snake sword.
That's the most Archer thing I've ever heard, except for the friend part.
actual Archer is the sole sane man who doesn't believe any of this shit. You know, he's just like he's the straight man to the entire cast of Holy Grail characters.
He's kind of the perfect character to be the straight
Yeah,
man.
that's why he's the only one who's there.
Despite everything.
But yeah, it's kind of all over the place with some like wacky shit, you know. Sir Not Appearing in the Film literally is a Assassin fan, except for the fact that he is. I think he activates his noble phantasm to change his name into Sir Not Appearing in this fanfiction, which is what makes him turn invisible permanently for the rest of the story.
That's amazing.
It's a good bit.
That's elevated crack right there.
Yeah, like it's really like masterfully done, and you get this like stuff like you get like the like voice of God scene, and it was the caster trying to fake it because they like mess up the dialogue, and like Arthur, you know, Saban's like, wait a minute, God would never say that. I've spoken to him. That's not what he'd say. But I'm like this. It just goes on like this. I think. Rin is also being Archer's master is also like the one who doesn't buy into any of this shit.
Oh yeah.
I think her solution to get away from this is she literally just flies away to London, like 2 chapters away from the end. She's like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this anymore. And just leaves.
Okay, I actually love that.
Which is the only way to escape the ever-growing madness consuming Fuyuki.
I mean, that's
born hellscape.
Isn't that how she canonically gets escapes the bullshit of Fuyuki?
Yes, but that's after the things.
That's fair.
It's a very fun you know, silly John.
You're definitely in kind of running around this time.
Just kind of taking out some side content.
Yep.
Which is kind of a fair way to go when we're, you know, down one troll for the moment.
Yeah, pro regeneration ain't that strong.
That's not.
I will say, I appreciate the fact that there's just 3 treasure chests for spotting this random tower and climbing it.
See that tower over there? You can climb it.
This is like good. Yeah, this is like good Skyrim.
You're right, Vicky. How dare?
How dare we climb the tower? How dare one of the trolls die?
How dare down one troll? How dare? And you're correct. How dare?
We're very daring people. You know that.
No, I mean, it's a good bit of comedy. Some masterful stuff. I think literally part of the conclusion is literally just I think that part of this thing is like, oh yeah, like the Sir Perry in this film literally was, yes, I was the one who called the police on you. Out at the end of our search for the Holy Grail, it was me the whole time. You know, it was me, Dio. You know, and does the whole bit. And I think eventually, like, he is stopped by them calling the cops on him or something. He gets hauled away. I don't remember.
I feel like I should be able to drop into that hay pile from on high.
That's fair. But alas, I think it's just for hiding.
But there is money.
It's true, there is money. Yeah. What is very funny.
Like, I feel like games like this one need more ways to spend money.
You can pick it up in so many random places, but like once you get the basics done, there's literally nothing more to spend it on.
Yeah, and it feels rewarding to get the money until you try to think about what you're gonna spend it on. Because normally by this point you've already figured out what weapon you're gonna be wielding. I'm already wearing the outfit of Altair, so I don't need to upgrade my armor again. I could be upgrading my medicine pouches and the like, but actually I think medicine's the only one I have upgraded.
Like, for instance, like, oh yeah, you know, you could buy more stuff to raise the income of your mansion with like painting stuff. But what will you use the income for?
Also, we've already got like 30,000 more florins back to the mansion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can raise the income you generate, but if you don't have anything to spend it on other than raising the income, what's the point? Yeah. Obviously, there is a completionist thing. You can use all your cash to fill out the entire collection of weapons and armor. bits and bobs, for your mansion, but if you aren't going for that percentage completion, it doesn't really offer you anything.
And the problem is, when you get to that point where you're only getting money for percentage completion, it starts to feel less cool to climb a random tower and find 3 treasure chests there. Like, it feels cool in, like, Elder Scrolls, because you're constantly smithing new stuff, getting rid of it. Depending on the game, you might be buying houses, like... And it feels cool in the early game of this, because...
Well, you can buy houses in every game if you mod hard enough.
That's true. And it feels cool in the early game of this, because, yeah, you're upgrading your base, you can see very clearly the upgrades.
Yeah.
I guess we are, like, almost a full day into our playthrough. I think we're at, like, 23 hours or something at this point. But still...
It is one of those things where I think part of it was that this was kind of an experiment.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't really have money.
I'm sure you did.
You had, like, I think technically you did have some that you could use for, like, some certain things.
It wasn't a full mechanic the way it is in this one.
Yeah, like, I think you could, like, restock, like, throwing knives and stuff at, like, the assassin bases. But there wasn't really, like, any serious shot. Even if I'm not just conflating it.
Yeah.
I might be literally making things up, Paul. But, it sounds ridiculous.
Fair.
But,
I guess you hit it one.
if you really want to.
I've almost doubled the amount of viewpoints.
It is definitely one of those things where I feel like it was kind of they sort of explored the mechanic but didn't really go in on it very much. They like added more to do with it, but like only so much.
Yeah,
They eventually kind of do more with it, like the games to an
I
extent.
think the next game is when they added real estate, which honestly I actually appreciated. Being able
Going
to...
full Fable.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Literally the reference I was gonna make. Yeah, no, I like buying the, what is the Aqueduct, for example, and upgrading that. I like buying the Colosseum. Who cares if it's not historically accurate that didn't actually get renovated in real life? I like doing those little things. You can see the world changing from your presence. It's a cool bit.
Which is now throwing me off because I was thinking the next time we went abroad. Isn't that the whole thing?
Maybe?
Yeah, I'm just losing my mind.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I lost my marbles.
Yeah, you weren't good, though.
That's true.
But no, that whole, like, real estate is a really easy way to let your players affect the game world. And it's great in games where one of your main resources is money.
This is true.
Especially if it affects the game world in a way that they doesn't have a huge impact on gameplay necessarily. And especially if it's mostly optional. The more optional you make it, the better, I think.
Hey!
Because when it's an optional mechanic, you don't make players feel like they're forced to interact with your mechanics, so they're much more likely to develop, like, positive emotions about it. Like, if in a game you force me to do real estate, to advance the main storyline all the time, it's gonna just feel like
That's fair.
a weight around your shoulders.
Yeah, it's like when a game, starts like, oh yeah, to unlock the next main story quest, gather, this many more resources or whatever the hell.
Or collect this much power, Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
Look,
One of those things where like, okay, British. Look, I will accept that from a limited time event in an MMO or a gacha game or something. It's like a multiplayer thing. Oh yeah, you got to collect these many resources to progress.
even
Whatever.
then.
It's a limited thing. I don't care. Don't make that the main story of your single player game. Why the hell are you gating it behind just random arbitrary bullshit?
My first playthrough of Inquisition, I was having a good time. Oh, I failed to drift. I was having a...
I'm just envisioning Ezio Akira sliding a horse.
Yeah. That's definitely the vibe I was going for.
Deja vu, I've been in this place before.
Dragon Age Inquisition, my first playthrough. I was doing a bunch of side content. I did all the DLC content. My first playthrough was after a lot of that came out. And I gather so much power that I basically just bum rush the late game. And it doesn't work. It's not fun. Or not very fun, at least. I still enjoyed it. But it completely ruins the pacing of it. Like, it was clearly intended, every story mission, there's like 8 hours of gameplay of doing random fuck-off side quest stuff. But that's not what you do when you did like 30 hours of fuck-off side quest stuff in a row. You do like 10 hours of story stuff in a row, and then you're like, I don't like anything that happened, because when you sit and think on it all just kind of flows together into one mess.
Speaking of, have you been hearing some of the...
Veilguard?
Yeah.
Yep.
We heard about it last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it, though.
Last week we'd heard about it. I think a few of the YouTubers I follow mentioned it. And then I think this week, was when they did the gameplay trailer. I want to say.
Yeah. I know we heard like a little bit about a couple of things since the last time we heard about it. All of this is like third or fourth hand for me, because honestly, I bounced off Inquisition so hard that I'm gonna wait until I hear positive reviews from like friends before I even look at the new game.
I don't blame you. I'm considering doing the same. It'll depend on how my wallet.
But I will kind of, when somebody talks about it, I'll kind of listen. I'm not like looking into it. I haven't even like watched the trailer technically. But like when somebody points out a cool thing, I go, oh, that's neat.
Like some stuff I am excited about.
Apparently, there are griffins.
Hey!
That's one of the things that I think is cool.
Yeah, that one's not too surprising considering when did we rediscover Griffin eggs? Did Awakening have the Griffin eggs?
I don't remember.
But I feel like one of the games had like living Griffin eggs mentioned in one of the credits or something. Might be thinking of the comics, but I don't know.
Either way, point is getting to see them on screen is cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like what I'm hearing about the game being really heavily focused on the companions. And I also like the fact
I'm no threat to anyone.
you're terrible at a Kira fight. Oh wait, this isn't my horse. That would be why.
To be fair, it's not like your horse is good at it either. God, imagine getting on a horse, riding it halfway across town, and bowling it over sideways in a move that would simultaneously break all four of the horse's legs. And then going, wait a minute, this is the wrong horse.
In my defense,
Talk about betting on the wrong horse.
okay, I don't have a defense. But how was I supposed to know I'd stolen the wrong horse? I thought that was my chestnut horse for like a solid 10 minutes.
I don't know. The other wacky thing that I heard about Veilguard though is so we're not getting Reaver, but we are getting Reaper.
Yeah.
Which seems to be basically the same thing.
Yeah, Reavers are specifically dragon-blooded, though.
Well-
they consume dragon blood for their mortal blood magic.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, we, based on what I sort of learned about this, because when he's like, oh, my favorite class Reaver, I will be happy if there's Reaver in this game. And they're kind of conflicted. They were kind of conflicted about this.
Fair.
Because the thing is, like, oh yeah, there's not technically Reaper by any means, apparently. That's not a thing that is happening, but, like, Reaper looks like it has pretty much the exact same kind of mechanical role and, like, ability style. And it's like almost the same name and everything. It's like, okay, I don't know if like it literally is Reaper and they've just like renamed it in universe, or like is this just like shitty knockoff Reaper? Is this Knight Enchanter to Arcane Warrior? Like, what are they doing here? And I don't know.
My money is it's Knight Enchanter. To be honest, Reavers always had the Funari connection, which has always made it a little awkward, despite seemingly predating Funari in Thetis, and possibly literally.
Yeah, and I mean, they're completely unrelated to the Funari in Origins, except for the fact that Sven was originally supposed to be a Reaver, but didn't get I'm remembering right? That was originally planned to be like his spec, before they like changed it.
Probably.
Or maybe that's just a long-running theory.
It makes sense. I mean, Quinari are literally dragon weapons. That's what a lot of the evidence would suggest, but hasn't officially stated yet. So it makes sense for the dragon-blooded member of the party to be the dragon-blooded specialization, but I don't think it was ever confirmed.
Yeah, I guess maybe it was just, the classic. Oh yeah, there's what? 3 specs for
4 specs in the
four
first
in the
game,
first
3 in the second game, and then 3 in the last game. Each
Templar.
class had one that wasn't aligned, had at least one that wasn't aligned to the party.
Yeah. Which I guess means that by implication, we assume that Sven would have been either a Reaver or a champion
Yeah.
if they had not nerfed out the spec.
Okay, I will say, Hopebringer Sten sounds hilarious.
That is
So
fair.
Champion Sten would be pretty rad.
Yeah. Man, I hope that was an assassination target.
I'm sure.
What? Come back here!
He was glowing golden. People don't glow golden if the universe doesn't want me to kill them.
I mean, they glow gold if the universe wants you to follow them, too. When you're doing,
There's Ecolo! He's right there!
killing stuff.
Yeah, but that's just assassination with extra steps.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in finding this guy in the fourth set.
Ecolo!
I'm an amazing assassin. This will be easy. I just need to find my way out how to get to the right end.
Worst case, you can use the...
You're right to run! We'll string you up on the nearest.
Yeah, worst case, you can activate your stand power. Final cast.
Ora! Quickly!
Man, I've really got to catch up on that comic. I haven't read that.
Yeah, no, I haven't read it. Probably about the same.
But,
Ballywigs were so cool. Ballywigs.
my belly guts.
Literally some of the best JoJo stands I've ever seen.
Yeah. I definitely remember some of them being like very good.
Okay, inside joke. What was our one friend's fur tanks or whatever? Do you remember what that line was?
Now, there you go!
Chino fur tank.
Gino fur tank. His stand power was, we were doing a custom RPG thing. His stand power is he can change anything
Anagrams.
into an anagram of itself.
I don't remember what the original thing was.
One of the best one-shots we've ever done. I don't think it was originally intended as a one-shot, but we couldn't follow up on it. It was just kind of too good.
No! Andiamo!
Che diavolo! Au!
Sbrigati!
Anagram solver to reverse engineer the scenario. Let's go with shit anagram solver.
It was some tank that I don't even remember how we produced.
This is how we learned that the anagram form was three loggers.
It was insane. We're pursued by, I want to say we were pursued by a tank. He figures out some adjective way to describe the tank, and putting that through an anagram generator allows him to come to Chino for the tank. It was
I don't think it was
stupid.
a tank initially, whatever it was.
Maybe.
It was like,
Was it the shower? Was it the...
that was later.
It was weird. It was wild. It was the most
It
absurd.
was one of the hardest times you've ever laughed in like a 1 hour period.
I genuinely thought I was dying by the end of it.
I actually did legit have a stitch in my side, I think, from it. It was a very funny couple hours. It was good.
Yeah, I
Never
was
really
able
continued from
to...
there, but it was,
Yeah.
it was good.
My stand was even more absurd because it was essentially reality editing for anything that nobody could see. As long as it was essentially off screen, I could edit what it was.
I frankly don't remember what mine was in that.
Yours was
that
like
thing.
a more reasonable power than either of ours, because mine was like a main villain power set. Way broken. If we weren't doing if it hadn't been a one shot, it would have gotten nerfed so hard. But it was a good time. Yours was something we would actually expect, like a JoJo to have. Not something we'd expect the villains probably to have. Not the time I was hoping to drop it.
One thing that, so not something directly with this, but I saw something the other day say, like, it's like, oh yeah, if I had to understand, it would be this, and I don't remember the name. Their name was, it's just a song that they like for a band, classic stuff. But the stand power was their strength grows relative to somebody based on if they're winning in an argument with that person, right? And it doesn't
Argument or debate?
Well, they use, I think, argument, but it's kind of implied to be sort of debate, like, but it doesn't matter what it's about, just if they're having it. So, it's like, oh, the main character's doing like a good thing. You walk up and you start arguing about, trying, my favorite flavor of ice cream or whatever. And they're like, what? And like, you get them while they're surprised because they don't know, so you're kind of winning by default.
Yeah.
Because it's like based on his internal perception of like winning the argument.
Makes
So if you can
sense.
turn it around, lose the momentum, obviously the strength, goes away or whatever.
The power
It's
of
like,
an control, yeah.
yeah, so it's like, oh, you could do fun stuff with that. Even like, oh, you could do all kinds of like really interesting stuff, in the, it could be like a really cool like episode kind of scenario to solve. Yeah, that one makes sense.
Yeah, it's a great villain stand.
So anyway, it was
Actually, it's a great villain stand that would also be a great sidekick stand. Like this, it's a stand you encounter super early because there's a character in JoJo Part 4, I think, who has a similar stand. Except it's Junk and Poe. They have to, if they win, I think 3 rounds of tic-tac-toe, they kill their opponent or trap them forever in some fate worse than death or something like that.
it's the Shadow Realm with you.
It's a kid. And his opponent is the villain from like 2 episodes ago. It works really well actually. And anyway, that villain and that previous villain ends up becoming one of the heroes just for no justifiable reason, because that's how JoJo rolls.
That is true. That's well done.
He just kind of ends up on their side. I like how Part 4 does a lot more repeating characters like him. Because like a significant chunk of the stand fights don't end in death. I think a majority still do, but enough don't that you actually do start developing a cast in Part 4 in a way you don't quite manage in Part 3 or earlier. Where are you at this point?
I finished part 3, but I just never
Okay.
I do eventually plan on getting there. I'll probably end it eventually get it all. Interesting stuff. Oh yeah. If nothing else, like you can make whatever arguments about quality you want. It's interesting. That it's interesting is not in doubt.
It's interesting and it's passionate, and that's really all you need. Like, if you can manage those 2 things, you're pretty well off.
Oh, are you? I think he's trying to see if anybody else is hearing static. Oh, there isn't any. We will quality check that for you on our end as well as we can here. No, I'm definitely picking up some static. While I was talking, at least I could hear it for a second.
Yeah,
But
I think it might be coming from the microphone.
Picky did say that it was fixed on her end at least, so
Might have been a weird internet connection.
yeah, I am going to tweak the mic just a little bit to make sure. Right here, my thought is might have gotten pushed slightly too close to the computer fan.
You know, one thing I really want to see in future Assassin's Creed games, because this one doesn't do a very good job with color theory. And as Tumblr taught us, you should have red everywhere. But it does do a good job of like showing you where it's safe to drop into a hay bale.
That is true.
Like those context clues.
I just want to check it so because I keep the window on mine.
You just
Alright, that's fine. Just being aware for a second.
Sadly, we don't have our tech guru today.
Which means we're kind of running on a slightly different setup, which is throwing some moderate,
Moderate difficulties.
not enough to keep us from playing, but it is enough to make monitoring chat just a little bit more difficult than normal.
But yeah,
We haven't quite got the hang of, chat scrolling by in the corner of the screen or anything yet. Maybe someday we'll get that working.
Yeah, we're definitely still in the newbie stream category. But yeah, I really like the fact that this game put so much effort into context clues like that.
Yeah, that has always been something that Assassin's Creed is really good at.
I do wonder how it evolves in like Assassin's Creed 3, Brotherhood 4, because I don't remember.
Yeah. From what I can remember, it's never really been, the context clues for environments are always structural. It's part of kind of the language you build up from playing Assassin's Creed in a way. Mm-hmm. You look at stuff, you see the outcroppings on buildings and stuff like that, and you can kind of intuitively, like, it's like the thing that Mirror's Edge goes for. Yeah. You get the runner's vision, you can kind of see how you can navigate something, by looking at it, without having to really use, like, highlighting climbable stuff or anything like that.
Mirror's Edge, though, very clearly makes use of color theory with red to make it really obvious the route they want you to go.
And also where the bloody bodies have been dragged through the floor.
Yeah, what's the difference? I don't know how he didn't know.
I do always like excellent use of kind of subtle guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily have a problem with, like, yellow paint or whatever when it's used appropriately. I do think you can have too much of that kind of thing.
Okay.
I think if you have a lot of climbing, you shouldn't rely on that for every single climbable object. I think it's okay to use that kind of thing to highlight it when it's otherwise crowded visually space,
Where do you think you're
There you go, killing again.
If you have a very busy looking object, like, say that boat thing right behind us there. If you have something like that, and you want to make it clear, okay, which side of this can you climb up? I don't mind putting, like, a highlighted, colorful, board here or there to make it clear, okay, this section of what otherwise it looks kind of impenetrable is climbable, rather than just leaving it a visual mystery. But I do think that strong visual language, like the regular climbing stuff Assassin's Creed has, means you don't need to highlight it that way. I can kind of understand why, like, Horizon, for example, is the way it does, because Horizon has a very, like a lot of parts of it are very, like, wildernessy color palette, outside or whatever, and then you kind of end up at this point where it's like, okay, if you can climb up the side of, like, a rock, how are you going to tell, if there's good handholds, because it's, like, got the super high, like, next-gen fidelity stuff that they were doing at the time.
Like, the birds is a really nice touch of this is where you need to go, or this is something you can drop off of safely.
Yeah. But yeah, whereas in that case, it's like, okay, you have, like, a giant, like, chunk of rock or whatever, it's like, can you do something with it? who knows? You know? Which is why they would usually, not yellow paint, they would usually have like white kind of like paint marking like any like climbable, grabbable like handhold on a big rock face or anything like that. And it's kind of extended to most stuff. And it's not necessarily bad, you know, they do it because of the kind of color palette makes it harder to tell when you're in these outdoor environments. And I do think it is harder with a natural environment. And that is really true. Like Assassin's Creed, you have the outdoor stuff, but for the most part, you're only really climbing the animated structure. You climb the buildings, you climb rafters, you climb towers.
Yeah, you don't really climb mountains, hills.
Yeah, so when that kind of thing comes up, it can be a little bit more baffling when you do have those bits, which is something they had to be very careful of in 3, because in 3 you start having a lot more outdoor areas. You have wilderness sections between the colony cities and stuff like that out there on the front of the American frontier.
The problem arises where you're not quite sure where you're supposed to go, though, sometimes, and then it just becomes a game of...
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, so they kind of try to do a lot with that in the 3rd game, which is actually the 4th game, or the 5th game, depending on how you want to count.
And then we can count, and then we can also consider the mobile games.
But the point being, they do some stuff like that there, and they try to make it kind of clear when they can, visually, like, oh, if you're climbing this tree, like, where are the handholds? How do you get up this tree? And there are still sometimes you go up there and you're just like, God, I hate this goddamn tree. You know, or that kind of thing. They kind of end up, the main way that it ends up working is you kind of end up with, like, very sort of formulaic climbing sections in outdoor areas.
Which is not really what you
So
want.
kill me then.
Untamed
At least I will have my own.
Yeah, like you have this
Unlike
stuff
the
where it's like,
son of
oh
a
yeah, you
pig
know, here
farmer
you can
standing
like,
in
do
front
this
of me.
running stuff where you like, you know, jump from like branch to branch across a log, you know, and you can like tree run, like you're a Naruto character, you know. But the thing is, those like sections you can tree run, there's like 3 or 4 templates that you just kind of stitch together for those sections. So you'll
Should have
see,
kept
oh,
an eye
there's
on
one of
his
those
men.
chopped off logs. That's the
Trying to
start of the
break
tree
into
running
the
bit.
treasury
And you can
is a
hop on it
serious
and take that
offense.
We
quickly
needed it to
navigate
build the
through
ships.
section.
Now
But you
we'll have to
always
go
pretty
find
much know
another
where they
ship
start
builder.
and stop because
Next
they're
time
kind of
inform the
uniform
watch when you
style.
question an intruder instead of dealing with it yourself.
Stops it.
Assasin.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, there's only so many pieces that they
Yeah.
use in them. So it's generally pretty easy to just run, and they're not really easy to branch either.
Assassino!
Ugh, I hate fleeing Templars.
I just hate Templars.
Yeah,
Unless
but-
they're the cool Templars, like in the Secret World.
Hey, drug, sex, and Rockefeller, my friend.
Look, I'll admit, the Illuminati have their positive points.
Go to the year right there.
But I do think, as far as secret societies go, I'm more of a Templar man when you're looking at that kind of situation, because I respect the aesthetic.
I still will
The
not forgive
the
either
incredible
of you
red and white coats with the crosses and shit.
for sticking me with the dragon. Okay? I am not... Okay, but Among Us, I'm probably the Chaos Theory. But I am not the Chaos Theory person.
Life finds a way.
Finds a way. Yeah. No. Your missions, because in the Secret World, depending on what group you're in, you get different mission summaries.
Yeah, because you have different handlers who are giving you your quests.
Even if you do the same quest, you're going to be told different information than the other.
Because you are sending the report to a different guy from a different secret society with a different agenda and different personality.
Okay, I found a secret area while I was trying to find a fleeing Templar.
Well, the good news is the fleeing Templar seems to have stopped and is waiting for you to catch up
Yeah,
before he starts fleeing.
that's the nice thing about Templars in this era. They're really willing to wait for you. It's like they lost that element. They lost that honorable element in later eras.
Yeah, it's true. It
Real
just
shame.
lacks the personal touch. In the old days, you know, there was some give and take. There was the thrill of the chase before they killed you. But nowadays, it's just murder. There's no art to it.
Exactly. You get it.
This is some serious Joker posting moments.
It is. Okay.
He wouldn't sincerely believe that, but he would say that.
Okay, Joker's beliefs are much like his backstory, multiple choice. Joker doesn't believe anything except for everything. That's all he believes.
Joker's personality is did it for the bit.
Yeah? I want to describe that as Harley Quinn's personality too, but honestly, she deserves better. Okay. There's probably a much easier way to get back over there, and I'm probably going to fall immediately again. So I still don't think that's how you're supposed to get up there.
Probably not. But Ezio is a master class at this sort of thing. It's a dab hand.
Yeah, I feel
He
like,
is, as the kids would say, based.
I feel like Assassin's Creed would probably benefit from more, or at least these early games. I don't know if it keeps their formula later as much, but the early games could really benefit from more Mirror's Edgy, open world mission design, I think. Like, there's a couple ways to chase after the Fleeing Templar here, but they're mostly minor changes to a set path.
Huh.
Don't think I'm supposed to land on this.
Nope. Yeah.
Anyway, there are minor changes to a set path. Where in Mirror's Edge, you can take pretty radical departures between level design, on the same mission.
It's kind of more of a, like we talked about the Hitman approach
Yeah.
the other day, where it's kind of it gives you a goal and a toolbox, and then sets up a little sandbox that you can play in for ways to reach that goal. Which does lend itself to more constrained levels, in a sense of having discrete areas where you have the objectives, like this kind of building could be, if it didn't suck.
Yeah.
This room feels more like a Spider-Man level, not gonna lie.
Yeah, this feels PS2 era.
But yeah, those are the kinds of things where, like, getting those puzzles, setting things up properly does require certain limitations. This is why the biggest and most frequent puzzles in Breath of the Wild, for example, are big shrines. They can give you a goal and tools and they kind of play around, though they usually are a little bit more, here's the main solution in that, partly because it is kind of meant to be more accessible. But,
Yeah, but the shrines also play the role of, here's one of the only things with the main solution. Like, they fill the Zelda dungeon niche pretty well. But their whole thing is, like, Breath of the Wild as a whole benefits by only having the shrines be in the places, and quests, I guess, being the stuff that's like, there's only one primary solution to this, and if you figure out a different one, that's not invented.
yeah, I just mean kind of in the sense that games that give you a lot of tools and let you try and solve your way through in a scenario require you to carefully craft scenarios to allow the use of as many tools as possible and as many angles as possible.
And Assassin's Creed just doesn't quite do much of that. It feels like.
Yeah, it's not really the way it's designed as much. Another good example in a slightly different genre of this actually is Prey. Prey is a game where you can get through with basically no advanced skills, but it is going to be rough. But you can choose how you want to tackle things by virtue of buying your talent tree upgrades, which can give you radically different approaches to levels based on what you invest in.
I'm starting to think that Templar got away.
Aw, shucks.
Hey, look, the emblem. Oh, there it is.
Can you just use your gun?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do. No!
Wait,
You can't use your gun in this place.
hold on. Get somewhere where you're not crouching on this spot.
Apparently.
It might just be the crouching position doesn't allow it.
Nope, it's the location.
Literally banned because they don't want you to sequence break the Templar chase.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Okay, so... By all rights, I should be able to grab onto something over here, but I don't trust this game right
Yeah,
now.
I don't either. Let's see.
Feels like we're supposed to go over to that.
Oh, there are birds on that ledge to your right. So I think you want to get to the... Go slightly left. You want to get to that like sort of extended dock thing, and
That's
then
what I was thinking.
sidle across. Yeah. I'm really hating this place. I don't even know what I'm playing.
Yeah, like, this is where Assassin's Creed games break down, because they all have levels like this. And this one's optional, to be fair.
Oh, so in Bucky, we did decide the gun was okay. Because the gun is built into the hidden blade. So it is technically still a hidden blade only run when we use the gun.
I was the only person voting for Hidden Blade only.
We haven't really used the gun for much anyway.
I think
I've
I've used
the mission we got it.
Yeah, I've used it for one mission where you're required to. The practice stuff, and I think that's literally it.
Yeah, we decided it's allowed, but mostly haven't messed with it though.
Yeah. I was voting against it. I wanted to go pure Hidden Blade, but the people have spoken.
Yeah, my argument was, yeah, it's just, it literally is just, you know, part of it. At least we're into the next, like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like, when the game's functioning correctly, like right now, perfectly fine. When you're in the 10 minutes prior to this, 20 minutes prior to this, however long it was.
Kind of reminds me of Outlast that way, where when you're doing the chase sequences, if you interpret the level layout the way that... If you follow the path the level is designed to lead you down while you're doing one of the chases...
It's so easy.
It's fun, it's tense, it's
smooth.
straightforward, it's smooth, but if you biff it and like misunderstand where it's leading you, you miss a cue, it just sucks, man.
I have enough trouble reading what people's intentions in conversation. Don't force me to do it in video games, please.
I think it's just kind of one of the risks of these things, because when it works really well. And it's, you know, kind of a challenge of the level designers themselves to design the level in such a way that it does easily and straightforwardly guide you without just, like, having a freaking, you know, highlighted follow this trait.
Also, you don't want the players to realize you're guiding them. Like, that was probably intentional. I think that's the first one I've actually got up to.
Nice.
Thank God!
Mm-hmm. Actually, thank Altair. When you're an assassin, he's basically God.
Isn't that just Death of the Endless?
No, it's King Hassan.
Isn't that just Death of the Endless?
He's God. Except for the fact that I'm not really super familiar with that stuff, unfortunately.
That's a pity. You should watch The Sandman on Netflix.
And it's something I kind of intend to do at some point.
Yeah.
I like Neil Gaiman stuff, especially in the abstract, and I've always thought it's a really good job with that kind of thing. I just haven't gone and engaged with it quite yet.
Yeah, I think I've loved literally everything by Neil Gaiman I've ever read and or watched.
I think I've only actually like read like one book of his. I don't remember what it was even. But fact is that I do. Every time I hear people talk about his stuff, every time I see him talk about stuff, it just makes me go, oh, man, this guy knows what he's doing. You know, and I like already am a big fan, despite not really reading most of his stuff. Just
Fair.
from the abstractions.
I feel the same way about the guy who worked closely with Rohan.
Terry Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett, thank you. Which you've read a lot of Terry Pratchett stuff, right? A decent job.
I've read like 3 books.
Really? I thought you read more.
But I'm kind of passively familiar with it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things is there's a lot of Discworld, and I just don't happen to own a lot of them because it was a time where I was like buying books or renting with a library more often.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's a lot of books to pick up.
But yeah,
So I have like a couple random ones, and I have like the first 2 in the Discworld stuff, and they're good. Like they are very good.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the stuff that makes me really a huge fan is out of context bits that I've seen. Small
Fallen
segment.
Angel, Rising Ape, Death in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, like with Neil, the thing
Plus
about...
Sam Vimes and his Booth's Theory of Economics.
Oh, yeah. Booth's Theory of Economics, just amazing. Oh,
Really,
right.
everything that has to do with
I
mines.
keep forgetting that Altair's gear just never takes damage.
Yeah.
He
And,
just
yeah,
invented Dwemer armor in the Assassin's Creed universe.
Also, the treatment of goblins
Oh, yeah.
and
dwarves.
some of the stuff done with dwarves, yeah.
Okay, chest is full.
And some other things like that. Also, what is it? Going postal, I think. You know, I know like a little bit of, which has to do with like the mail corps and stuff like that.
I'm trying to remember that one. But... Yeah, that's one it is. I don't remember much.
I think what it is with that one is that it turns out like it's like somebody who, or maybe I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm less familiar with some of those parts, but the point is, every time I hear bits of the sea people talking about the stuff, I go, man, that's really good. In addition to the fact that I do know a lot of people who I'm like friends with who have read tons of Pratchett and are absolutely humongous fans, which is a bringing endorsement.
Yeah, I'm a gaming fan. I love, like, American Gods is probably one of my favorite novels of all time. The fact he wrote it, the fact he interrupts the main story with his Coming to America stories, which, if you've never read that book, Coming to America stories are where he just completely flips off from the main story and switches to some sort of immigrant story through a mythological lens. The television series actually, I think, did a couple of its own unique Coming to America stories as well. Like, there's one where it's people crossing the border from Mexico into the United States, mostly legal immigrants, and a dude gets shot down and killed during it. He gets shot in both of his hands, and we realize that's Mexican Jesus. Because in the American Gods universe, all of the gods are, like, physically embodied. All the characters in mythology, Jins and Jesus and Odin, they're all physically embodied by mythological people living in the day-to-day, trying to survive in that country, drawing power from faith and worship and just interest in them. So the Coming to America stories are how those gods got to America, and they vary wildly. One's like this Irish woman who gets pregnant so that she doesn't get a death sentence while in jail. She instead gets exiled to America, and she brings over leprechauns. One's Mexican Jesus character dying while crossing and then coming back to life. One's the story of Vikings coming over long before America was discovered by Columbus. Just wildly varied, interesting stuff, and it's just such a good novel, even without touching on the main story. But yeah, and all of his stories have something like that, some element that's just completely unique to them. Like Daniel sometimes says like, I could never write any of the books I've ever written today because I'm not the person who could write them. I could only write them back then, or something to that effect.
Fair. It's a true sentiment.
Yeah, it's a really interesting viewpoint. Okay, I'm kind of proud of using the Irish frames from countering one attack to dodge the other.
That looks so smooth. Unlike that second thing that immediately followed it.
Hey,
It looked
that looked incredibly smooth. Like, that guy smoothly nailed me in the face.
I remember some bit in this. It's just, it was some like that thing happened where somebody says something and he was very calm. He walked over calmly, keeping control of his emotions, and calmly broke a chair over, his knee, or whatever. I don't remember the exact bit, but it's just like, calmly does this, and calmly, snaps something in half and screams.
Yes.
It's a good bit.
I need your healing and I need your drugs.
Kind of adjacent to the Neil Gaiman and all that stuff with this.
I have done what I
Through
can.
through weird lenses. Not directly related, but an author that you might be interested in checking out at some point is Tamora Pierce.
I've
Not read her stuff.
I read some of her stuff, but it's been
next
years.
But I've only read some, but I've always liked all of it that I did on like several levels.
Well, if you could recommend one of her books, what would it be?
Absolutely, the Atlanta Wilderness Quartet, I guess, technically. But I really, really enjoyed those. I think you probably would too.
I do have predictable tastes.
Yes. Another one that I remember that was actually I read before that was a later series set in the same timeline, the Wild Magic. Well, I think Wild Magic is one of the first ones. I think it's technically The Immortals is like the name of the little trilogy or quadrilogy or whatever.
Okay.
I don't actually remember if it's 3 or 4 right now.
Pitch it to me.
So essentially what you get here is you have the protagonist character, I don't remember her name, it's been a long time since I read these, is,
High praise indeed.
look, a lot of parts of this have stuck in my brain ever since I read this back in, like, late middle school, was the first time I read this. I think I've gone back and looked at them since, but it just, I haven't looked it up recently, so I don't remember the character names.
Okay.
But what is this character, who's kind of out on their own, and they, the main thing is they have kind of a knack with animals in a way that most people don't. Around there, they use that to, like, take care of the animals. They like do a stable kind of thing, yeah.
That's
Kind
what they
of
have a
standard
knack.
small town stuff.
Just good with animals, or is it, like, supposed to be something supernatural?
It is very much supernatural, though they do not know that. They think it's just, to them, it's just, I'm just good with animals, it just makes sense, And essentially what happens there is after, sequence of events, they kind of get picked up and sort of join, like, a entourage. It's like going to the royal capital or whatever because they need somebody who can, like, take care of the horses or something. And she's, like, the only one who, like, can get them to, like, listen and behave, like, in this area or something like that.
Okay.
But essentially the main thing that kind of comes from there is what eventually is kind of like discovered over the course of the thing is like, she doesn't just have a talent, she kind of has a natural, like, she has a natural gift for wild magic, which is functionally like totally like, it's like nature based stuff, but it's kind of fundamentally different from like the traditional gift that regular mages have in the setting. Which is kind of, a relevant thing. Like the king has the gift, some of these other heroes do. Magic is kind of
like she's a scion, or is this like she's like a sorcerer compared to a wizard, or like a wilder?
She's sort of like, in this case, what she is she's kind of like the, she's like the sorcerer equivalent of a druid.
Okay.
Like she has like at the beginning, like she can like kind of communicate with animals in a way that's slightly beyond words, but not enough to really be talking to them. As she like learns it, she's able to like use it to like do all kinds of nature stuff, talk to animals directly, shapeshift. Though it does some interesting stuff with this, especially to start with. Because part of this is related to all the other things that are going on here. One of which, the reason it's called immortal is because that's what's happening is immortal creatures from like the realm of gods are starting to like trickle back into existence at this point in time in a way they haven't in like living memory.
Interesting.
And because of these talents, she gets kind of involved whether she wants to or not. Because I think part of what happens here is her talent for wild magic is like it draws from the divine source basically in this setting.
Okay.
It's not like the regular magic of people. Like her magic is like the same kind of style as like divine stuff, which makes her like valuable in like a dangerous way to a lot of those creatures.
Protagonist girl, I get it.
And then, there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. I don't remember all the details. I remember having a lot of really interesting stuff with kind of shape-shifting and like that kind of like how the magic is sort of used and develops, and stuff over time.
Starting to think I know why you thought I might be interested in.
One of the now see that's more the recommendation for the other series. But I remember this one being a lot of fun. I really vividly remember like the part of the conclusion of the second
There
book.
you are. Comets. I'd like to
Where, like,
introduce you to one.
shit is going down, and I think that eventually she like
This is
transforms into like a
Agostino
wolf
Barbaro.
and like gathers all the wild wolves in the area
È un onore fare la vostra
the
conoscenza.
stuff, but it goes on for long enough that she
Sorry
comes
for the loss
this
of your
close
brother.
to just
He
not
had
even
it
being
coming.
able to become a human
It was
again.
bought and paid for by the
At the
Borgia.
end of like the whole
A mistake
bit.
I had no
animal.
And
intention
is
of
like
making.
barely like drawn back
have
to
much
like
to
human
discuss.
consciousness at the end of it, yeah. And has to
We've
be careful
located
with
Silvio
shapeshifting for like a
Barbarigo.
while.
He's
No.
fled into Larsenal.
Like that Flash Speed Force bit, you know.
Fled?
I could never
You
go
mean
that fast
occupied
again.
and joined by
I
200
was thinking
mercenari, no
that.
less.
I was
Your
thinking
doge.
that Capri
Can't you
bit.
command them to stand
Also
down?
fair, but you know, a little
Committee
different.
of 41 has yet to
It's more, you know,
confirm
kind
my
of a
ascension.
curious moment. You
And
know,
this
a
little
little
stunt
too
of
close, and
Silvio's
like, you know, if
has
you ever
only
fly
made
that
things
close
worse.
again, you're done
He has
for.
an entire army at his command.
You've gotten a limit.
Then help me to raise my own. I figured you'd say as much. Bartolomeo Dalviano is the man you seek.
Entertaining to kind of
He
go
and his
through.
men have little love for
It's been a
Silvio.
long time since I read those
He
ones.
resides
It was a
within the
little
military
more
district.
recent that I read the
Southwest
Atlanta ones, which are, I
Larsenale.
think the
Va bene.
first
I'll
book
go and
series
see
in
him.
this like setting. So I know there's those. There's the Immortals ones. And there's another one later, Protector of the Small. I think was another set of like 3 books. I never read those, but I saw those on library shelves.
Silvio Barbarigo.
I was kind
Raised
of
by
meant to
wealthy
read them.
merchants, Silvio was introduced to
Barbaggio.
politics when his father was cut out of the family inheritance. From then on, Silvio worked for his uncle,
Very subtle.
his father's killer. Apparently, he had a knack for persuasion. Quickly, he became his uncle's advisor, proving his worth by discovering a Soranzo plot against the Barbarigos.
Barbaggio.
You're gonna love this. Before the plot could be carried out, Silvio throws an Easter celebration, inviting the Soranzos. There's a pageant
red
for the
Easter.
children in the central courtyard, while Silvio escorts the parents to the roof. He toasts the family, then signals the archers hidden behind the courtyard windows. The Soranzos never plotted against the Barbarigos again. Fast forward 10 years, and Silvio's living in his uncle's luxurious Venetian palazzo. According to the history books, his uncle died in bed.
Interesting. Silvio Barbaggio e Rosso.
He seems nice.
Italy strikes again.
How dare they? Italian, so Italy all over the place.
Yeah, but basically a big part of kind of all of those books is it is kind of a very personal and internal, you know, struggle and evolution that is kind of central to how a lot of that writing goes there
Fair.
with that author. So some of it's just kind of really hard to like adequately describe outside of just reading, you know, and seeing.
Oh my
character
god,
struggles,
there's a
you know.
Luigi emblem.
It's me, Luigi.
I don't know what the Luigi emblem means on this map, but I'm gonna find out.
Is it L for Lorenzo?
I'm pretty sure it's L for Luigi. What would Lorenzo have to do with it?
Like this doesn't seem like a thing that we call for Lorenzo. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I have genuinely no clue.
I think this entryway is on the ground floor.
Yeah, I'm trying to see which side it's on now.
The answer is probably not this one.
Probably not. I think I see where it is.
I'm guessing it's around to the right.
Yeah.
Gotta get rid of that, like, 3% notoriety.
Mm-hmm. People shouldn't be suspicious of me. I should be suspicious. Oh, Leonardo, of course.
Oh, Leonardo! Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo, it's an easy mix-up.
It's a me, Leonardo!
How can I help you? Ha! You found another one. How exciting!
Brad, I grabbed like 3 codex pages today.
Yeah, been a lot of
I think this
random
is the key.
acquisitions.
If I just rewrite this line,
Here, take it.
and it works. Here,
You know, it's
take
a
it.
very, very fancy coincidence that only the ones we obtain in main story missions have cool, interesting upgrades for our weapons.
Yeah.
In the blueprints hidden in the codex pages. All of the other codex pages don't do that.
Hey, they're upgrades. They're just not physical upgrades. They're mental upgrades that change how you think and how your state of mind works.
But only for Leonardo.
Hey, they also affect Ezio. They just don't affect us if we're the player.
And distilled an elixir of lead and pomegranate. With the coastal secrets of the Barbary Coast.
You know, I've killed way too many people in this town for my anonymity to be this successful.
Well, that's because you killed so many people. It means nobody's allowed to see any of them. Every time you kill somebody, the next like 3 people you kill will coincidentally witnesses to an earlier crime. That's keeping the total number of people who ever seen you stab somebody pretty low. destiny working in your favor for once.
I guess my only real obvious murders involved the hidden gun. So yeah.
And even one of those times you like got away scot-free.
I think there was only one of those
I
times.
understand. I'll have more outer pieces from me.
We've collected 18 of the 100 feathers we need. Part of me kind of wants to actually finish collecting the feathers just because I like the reward for it, if I remember it correctly.
I hear you're pretty fast. I'm a bit of a speedster myself. You would honor me
I don't
by
remember a
granting
single thing about the feathers thing I gave up on that long before I got anywhere near completing it.
I think you get an auditory cape,
That'd be cool.
if I remember correctly. Okay, agglomeration.
To all
Oh, shit,
citizens
that's
of the
right.
most serene republic, following the increase
Oh no.
Too late, you biffed it already. You needed those precious 5 seconds of wind-up time.
I need nothing. Oh crap, the guards are suspicious that I'm racing a thief. Why are they suspicious when I'm not guilty of
He
any
is
crime?
recommending that we do it. I assume this was about the eagle feathers,
I was gonna guess.
because that seems like the most relevant thing we've not been saying for sure we would do. Very, very quality racing. Stopping to kill a guy and grab some loot from a chest.
Of course. That's never ended badly for me before. Ah, there it is.
I think many things have ended badly for you before this included.
There is nothing you can prove that's ever ended badly for me in my life.
Oh, that is impressive. Don't worry.
This might take a second attempt. But in my defense,
No, there is no defense.
it might not.
I mean, I will wish you the best, but we have already spent slightly, almost half the time to get 5 out of 22 checkpoints.
Everything
Not a great start.
is going perfectly. This is a
Everything
perfect
is
run.
going to be.
Alright. Still the creepiest fucking thing Shark Tank ever put out. Come
It
on.
would help if I understood what Shark Tank was.
Business show, people come on with their dumb inventions and try to get rich people to fund them so they can accomplish their dreams. And if they fail to them, they just get fail tipping against them, they just get mocked. And if they succeed, they normally get mocked and then their business fails like 2 years later.
Sounds
That's basically the
Yeah.
plot of Shark Tank.
sounds not good. I don't like it.
The
Not
first,
my kind of thing.
first season I enjoyed, and then it was just like every other show I ever made. Not really much else to say about it.
It's you over here looking like he's playing hopscotch while the timer's frantically ticking down.
Come on. Come on! There was no reason for that.
I mean, this could have been going a lot faster if you didn't detour.
I can see no way that's going to run faster. Look, we've got only 6 left, and we've got at least the second turn. That's pretty good.
I'll admit you made it slightly closer than I expected.
17 out of 22 when you spent literally half the time not doing it is pretty good, I think.
Just goes to show
I'm amazing at it.
bad at video games.
Oh, now I have to restart, but I only wasted 4 seconds on the wind-up. That is 20% better. That is a huge improvement. I don't have the singing talent for that. And we're not turning one of our streams into an AMV. I'm sorry. If you want to, you can do it on your own time.
Los
You need a bunch of backup dancers to start singing about how you're going to win the race.
Yes,
Would that help you out?
it would. Come on!
At least on a spiritual level.
How are you supposed to get this one when you just jump through it when you try?
By being better at video games?
No! Who's the one Yu-Gi-Oh character, Duke something?
Duke Devlin?
Duke Devlin. I need to do
sick name.
I need to Duke Devlin this shit. I get better the more people are cheering me on.
Maybe that's your problem. You've only got one troll instead of two being backup vocals for you right now.
Yeah, this never would have happened if I'd had both trolls. You never go one troll.
You always full trolling.
Yeah, if you half troll it, if you third troll it, it's just not the same. It never is. You think you can pull it off, but you can't. Think I'm gonna make it this time?
Signs point to yes. Or at least to a maybe. You could still pivot.
Your faith in me is truly astounding.
Look, I'm just making an evidence-based judgment based on some of the jumping platforming challenges we've had to do in the last couple of sessions.
I have never had trouble with one of those in my life. I am the epitome of speed. Speedrunners wish they had this level of skill. If only so they had a clear path to improvement. But that one I can get by going over it.
Alright, 25 seconds to get that last one. There's still time for you to mess it up.
Your faith in me is truly appreciated. Don't say anything.
So yeah, even when fully trying, that took you about 10 seconds left. You definitely screwed yourself by going to the chest the first time. Piggy says, and they almost screwed it up. GG.
But I didn't. I have never made a mistake in my life, and that's proof of it.
No matter. Have a good day, sir.
Yeah. I guess you could say that if you consider your life as only having started after you started that race.
Yes.
Look, the past, if you take a sufficiently small snapshot of the graph that is my life, it's all up.
Look, here's the thing. The
Nothing but gains.
You cannot prove the past conclusively happened, and you cannot prove the future conclusively happened. You can only prove the present is currently happening. Based on that estimate, I've never made a mistake in my life.
Except here's the problem with that. I don't believe you. I do believe you can conclusively prove the past has happened.
You can only conclusively prove...
Keep away, filth!
Dude, will you let me up?
No.
Fine. I wasn't even gonna kill you. You didn't need your money. You brought this on yourself.
I recommend stealing their bones.
Hmm.
But that's only if you want to graduate from Assassin to become real rich.
One time. Wait, 2 times? 1 or 2 times. And people never let Tumblr forget.
Look, actually a lot of people do, because a lot of people don't know the deep lore, but, you know.
Cowards, a lot of them, they don't count.
I will never get tired of like people being able to reference like, oh yeah, you know, just the bone stealing incident. It's like, wait, which bone stealing incident? There was more than one, you know. Plus, of course, be like, wait, what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah.
It's like the
Must be one of Bartolomeo's men.
you know the
Where
cannibal
is he?
mermaid, you know, fake AIDS
Silvio's
scam, which is like the kind of sentence that definitely deserves its own entire.
It's the kind of sentence you expect out of a White Claw commercial.
But it's also the kind of thing that it deserves its own entire, you know, YouTuber video essay dedicated to the history of that particular event, which I think it did get.
Yeah, no, I would definitely watch the 8-hour video essay.
I'm pretty sure I literally did watch a 3-hour video essay about that. Like, not even lying.
At the very least, I know I've read at least like a 3,000 or 4,000 word essay about it on Tumblr, which is more or less the same vibe. Okay, so now we're liberating some friend of Ezio's, Bartholomew something.
Bartholomew! Love that guy. Who's that guy?
Don't ask me.
Hey Ezio, it's your cousin, Bartholomew.
Leonardo would invent bowling. It also, as someone who didn't know other forms of bowling existed until like a couple years back, other forms of bowling are weird.
Like other rule sets?
Yeah, like the ones that use the really tiny pins, for example.
Miniature bowling?
No, not that. Not miniature bowling. Like, what is it? It's not Chicago style, but basically Chicago style.
Speaking of Chicago style, I'm going to immediately cut off your train of thought with my own.
That's not a pirate for you.
But no, I was not aware of any other particular varieties of bowling, I guess.
Yeah, like...
Doesn't surprise me ultimately that they exist, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah, they're mostly just regional styles. This is the style they built. They made pins for and the like. None of them are exceptionally weird and fundamentally change what bowling is, but they're all just weird enough that every time I learn about one, I'm like, what the heck are they thinking?
That's fair.
That's not bowling.
The varietal that I was learning about the other day.
We've hit the 19 viewpoints at this point. I think most of them were this stream.
Yeah, because usually kind of knocking them out like crazy today.
Yeah.
But, I think you're saying 100-pin bowling is very fun. I can believe it. I could see it knocking down that many being pretty satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've only done that in a Wii mod.
Warning, restricted area. Alright, you need to go slam the trunk on the car.
That's... No, I can see the clear and obvious connection between warning restricted area and I need to go slam my truck.
Which reminded me of the kind of automated voices you get in like some vehicles. Not mine, but just generally.
So you're reminded of something your car doesn't even have.
Well, more specifically, it's kind of reminding me of a bit of where the SUV was going, the door is ajar. Constantly, after it like busts. Because my door was ajar today. Not like the regular door, I think it was the trunk was just ever so slightly cracked. Because it wasn't giving me any alarm sounds at all. No, like, beeps or anything like it normally does if you try to start it with the door open. And I was going, and I would see the door light flickering on and off the whole way. Because I think the trunk was just like vibrating in and out of position because it was just like the tiniest bit unlatched.
Maybe both, just to be safe.
So my plan was, okay, I'm gonna go fix that when I get home.
I met you at the Torre da Firenze.
So probably I need to open it and slam the trunk back closed, and then it'll be fine.
Let's see who
I'm
wins.
99% sure, because of course the reason was I was going to open the trunk,
Down there!
press the button like
Stop
that,
them!
and I'm like, I should need to do that.
Boss! Break!
So it's gonna get something else in the stage, and put that in the back seat. So I think that I had lashed it just enough to leave it like loose, you know. So it's something I gotta go do, but that's okay. Also okay, I'm gonna get back to that other train of thought I was on before this. Again, when we were talking about Chicago style, because I was looking into Chile. Because as I think a minimum of one viewer may know, possibly two, depending on who's still watching. There was a time like a couple months ago where I made
Put my fist in!
Chile.
We should go.
I don't know if you were there.
I wasn't.
There are still more heads.
It's pretty
to be
good, I
smashed.
thought.
Perhaps we
Normally
should
it's
try and
chili.
avoid conflict.
I've literally never had chili I liked, so I wouldn't expect to
Just
like
practical.
I tried.
I departed pretty like this one. First off, it was a chili verde.
Most of
So it's
Silvio's
not
men
a,
are useless. But that one's
standard.
travel.
Look, my favorite part about eating chili is making sure not to get any on my cornbread, so I can enjoy my cornbread.
How
I did also make cornbread.
Silvio set these men to ransacking your place.
But
Prepare yourself for a fight.
point being that this was like a chili, but it's like a chicken chili. It's like 3D.
What fun this will be!
What part of chili do you not like?
The chili part.
Don't
Like
overextend
the chili
yourself.
flavoring? Of like,
None of it. I just don't like chili at all. I've never. There's nothing about chili I've ever liked.
Gotcha. Well, maybe not in that case then. It's pretty like different from regular chili because I'm not a huge fan of that usually. Like I cut out like most of the onion. I really cut load of peppers. Left some in. It did have a lot of tomatillos. It did have like chili powder.
This random office with 4 guards and nothing else had 4 times as much money as the Medici did in their hidden location.
I think this just means one of two things actually. One, they are really high and they have a lot of liquid asset, or not a lot of liquid asset right now. Or B,
Value your life.
they're much better at hiding it than you are at finding it.
Never!
Okay, the Medici literally own a bank.
It's not lived free, eh? I'll not go
They have a
back into
decent
it.
liquid asset.
And you'll go into the ground.
Except Lorenzo,
Hear that?
actually. Lorenzo had a huge problem. Because,
See what you can do.
if I remember, Lorenzo de' Medici is also the one who almost ended up losing the Pope as a person, as accessing their accounts for a while.
Falling.
He was a clusterfuck all around, really.
What a mess they've made. Bianca. I hope she's unharmed.
You're correct, Vicky. I'm not like a huge fan of like kind of the traditional American chili stuff. Like Texas chili can be alright, but I'm just not like a huge fan of like, a lot of the stuff that goes
What do you
into a
think?
normal chili.
Look at
Which
this
is why I
place.
picked this one out because it had the most stuff I did like and the least I didn't.
If something's happened to her.
And I modified it a little bit more. It took like half an onion by default. I just didn't put it in. And nobody somebody complained. I thought it was good.
Thank
It was
God.
a very
you're
large
alright.
pot, and I only had a single Tupperware
Ezio.
left after that night.
Meet Bianca.
So, a lot of chili was eaten.
Ezio.
Charmed.
And then, anyway.
So,
So I was
know your
considering
name,
making that again for something
not
else.
why you're here.
But I was thinking of how else I could kind of tweak it and improve it a little bit. So I was looking up a lot of stuff about like kind of things that people add
be
into
my
chilies.
honor.
Starting with
But
stuff
it's
that people
going to
like
require
normal
more
chili.
than just the
Like
two.
kind of specific stuff like
Three
chili verde
of
and
us to
stuff like
weaken
that.
his forces.
See what would go and what
How do you
doesn't go
suggest
together,
we
maybe,
proceed?
So I know what not to
I'll
throw in.
go. And ready my men
Because
for
there's a lot of
battle.
stuff people like will add to like
While I do
standard pattern
this,
chilies to like add
I'd like you
different
to
flavor,
rescue
like
those who
sometimes,
were captured
chocolate,
during
unsweetened
Silvio's
chocolate,
assault.
or even cocoa powder.
I cannot, in good conscience, leave them
Several
behind.
varieties of alcohol that
Daisy.
people will throw in.
I will attend to it at once.
Gas.
Good luck out there, Ezio.
Cinnamon. And some of these things would maybe not work as well on chili verde. Because of the different, profile and everything. I do think adding some alcohol probably would work fine. But maybe different kinds than a standard chili.
Yeah, what kind of flavor profile do you want out of the chili verde?
I'm not 100%.
Do you want it to be sweet? Do you want it to be sour? Do you want it to be hot? Even basic.
It's a little bit hot. The recipe that I've used before, at least, that I'm using as a base, is kind of on the savory side with a little bit of heat. It's pretty mild as far as like heat went, but it's not like super sweet or super spicy or anything. It's kind of a little more of a
Many
kind of
thanks for
savory
the aid,
balanced thing,
friend. We'd like to fight with you,
Probably
if
whiskey,
you'll have us.
rum.
Yeah, I did consider
Alright,
like
these
maybe-
ways.
Honestly, sake might actually work. Honestly, sake might actually do wonders in chili.
Yeah, but with the chili verde, at least, like I looked up some stuff and it's like, okay, I may not want to add like, chocolate. Or it's not quite that kind of profile. It's like a standard chip, same as I wouldn't want to add like adobo. I wouldn't want that anyway, but like flavor. I don't know. I'm not an adobo guy. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But what I think I would put in is garlic, which is a common item for a lot of chilies, including chili verdes, but it's not in this one.
Oh,
Add a little bit of garlic, possibly a little bit of cinnamon, maybe not much, but like I might try like a little bit, and like a little bit of roux. Is kind of what I was thinking. Testing the next time I do it.
Yeah, I've never found chili I liked. I'd give it a try, but that's pretty.
That's true. For pointing out, also tequila
Oh yeah,
would
tequila.
probably be a pretty good fit. One of the reasons I was thinking rum is because I have some spare rum right now. I do not have any tequila.
You should get some.
Hey, tequila!
All of my worst decisions involve some variant of tequila.
That hood.
He's there, on him!
Chocolate, alcohol. Bourbon was another one I started recommending if you want normal chili a lot. Chili verde. Brown sugar and molasses.
Honestly, it's not quite a gimme for everything, but there's a lot of stuff brown sugar.
Another one is vinegar. Vinegar would be likely. Vinegar could be good at the chili verde with that really nice profile there.
And the downside of vinegar is if you add enough to actually influence things, vinegar, it's the weakest thing to add in my opinion.
Yeah.
When it comes to like liquids, like vinegar normally substitutes alcohol in a lot of recipes, or can be used that way.
Yeah, apparently it's a pretty common chili ingredient, especially stuff like apple cider vinegar or red wine vinegar.
Makes sense, yeah.
To add a little bit of, you know.
We are with you,
Rice
friend.
wine vinegar.
Only lead the way.
Another one is corn flour or cornmeal to kind of thicken a chili before serving. I think he says tequila is the king of alcohol that inspires terrible decisions, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you want a punch of flavor acid, you can try lime juice. Yeah, so that's another one that is on the list, lime. But this recipe actually already has lime juice in it, so I don't need to add it to this one. Otherwise, that would have been on my list.
Fair.
This one has like a solid half a cup of lime juice. The verde kind of is a little bit more, a little bit of a citrusy sort of profile.
Stop him! Ora! Eccolo! There! There!
Very smooth. But yeah, so I was looking into chili recipe stuff because I was considering how to cook this up. Because one of these things is like I'm not normally much of a chili guy, but this one I did like pretty well when I made it, which is kind of rare for me. For the most part, the only other kinds of chilies I've had I like is the most bare bones chili you can imagine.
Together we will crush the
You know, like
barbarian!
you get like a canned Nally chili where it's literally just beans and meat in a can. You know, like that's like I like that more than most normal chilies.
Fair enough.
Because there's nothing in it I don't like. But so other than that, this is one of my favorite kind of ones I've had, and I really like how it turned out. So I'm thinking if I could like figure out a few modifications to make it even better, I will eventually have my own custom chili recipe off of the base that I actually like. You know? I mean, write it down with all the modifications, and I will have my own special chili recipe, you know?
That's pretty much my cooking method. Experiment for about 2 years until I find something that actually seems to work and hope I can remember it.
Yeah. This kind of works with a lot of, I know that's like my mom's does like meatloaf, you know, where she's like refined it year over year, tried a ton of different styles, you know, until she got the one that she likes. And it's one of the things where like chili is like a useful thing to be able to make, you know, make a giant, you know, pot of it for like a party or whatever, just leave it there, you know.
Yeah,
It's kind of a useful thing to have in your pocket, stylistically. And I like my cornbread recipe. Having something I can make that goes with the cornbread. You know. I'm creating a custom chili recipe specifically to make cornbread to go with it. But, you know, being able to make this all would be nice, so I'm going to be trying to customize that. But one of the things that I learned while doing this, though, was from like a Reddit comment on like a thread of like stuff to add to chili, which gave me a lot of these, you know, random ideas that people do. Somebody was saying, oh, you know, I recommend you look up Cincinnati's chili. Which I looked up.
Familiar.
And so Cincinnati chili is, technically speaking, not chili.
Okay.
It has some similarities in that it's usually got like, you know, the meat and the beans kind of mixed up like that. But Cincinnati chili is kind of from more like usually it has like a lot of spices. Like you'll have like allspice, cinnamon, cloves, you know, stuff like this. It's kind of almost sort of like it's closer to a Mediterranean bolognese, technically. Like,
interesting.
But it's called chili and stuff, and it's the kind of thing that you get a lot on, like,
and well done.
In certain places and stuff on, like,
my host is restored to its former
as like a
glory.
topping, not like served by itself as a chili.
I have heard of this. It's the kind of stuff review of a restaurant online.
Yeah, so it's the kind of stuff that you might get, like, in the parts of the country that have like this. You might get this on, like, a chili. It would have Cincinnati chili, where it's, yeah, it's more like a closer to a bolognese sauce that's done like that, and I think that sounds
most of his guards.
And with the arsenal I joined the mercenaries. I can move in for the kill.
Esatto. You'll be virtually unopposed.
Let's hope he takes the bait.
Oh, don't worry. He will.
Assume the position.
But yeah, so
Alright,
Cincinnati
this way.
chili. I think my chat window dropped whatever your last message was there, Picky. I saw Cincinnati and then River popped up, disappeared when the page refreshed.
Love when that happens.
Because of the technical difficulties. So.
Where's that one?
Oh yeah. That's a pretty common thing. Is it'll be done with ways where there'll be like different kinds of toppings that can get mixed in, and yeah, it's used on spaghetti a lot. As a company. So yeah, ever since Cincinnati chili gone wild, they have it on spaghetti, then add onion, cheese, and I think 3 other toppings. Which I think was something I saw about on Wikipedia. Where it's like, oh yeah, you can get it with like, you know, it might be like just a plain sauce. And it's like, oh yeah, get it like 3 ways, like add beans, cheese, and onions or whatever. But I think just as a basic profile, Cincinnati chili sounds way more my style than most kinds of actual chili. Mostly because, legally speaking, not chili.
On me.
As far as like the category of food goes. But yeah, so it's like a heavily spiced, like, you know, sort of Mediterranean style meat sauce, basically. That is utilized in ways like you use chili outside of eating it in a bowl. You know, like if you want to put a chili on an item, Cincinnati chili is a good one for it, apparently. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up. And you have to find like a nice recipe to make a Cincinnati chili, do like a Cincinnati chili corn dog or something, like a hot dog. And I'm like, I bet that'd be pretty good. You know, just get your red wine meat sauce, add your allspice, your cinnamon, your cloves, your nutmeg.
Definitely nutmeg.
You know,
if you have any meat dish and you're not sure what to add to spice it up slightly, just add nutmeg and see what happens. Genuinely, 9 times out of 10, nutmeg is a good ingredient to add to your
Wait here for my signal.
I've just had a specific phrasing of the spices
Let's
in
do it.
my head since we're watching a Dylan Hollis video.
Oh no.
Where it's like, looking at the recipe, it's like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves with the soup. And just the expression.
I will not die for this cause.
Truly a gift to all of us. But yeah, it is one of those things where I don't think I would eat it with all those toppings that they often do it with, Picky. Because I'm not... A lot of those toppings are things I wouldn't like. Like, sure, I would add cheese to it. That's kind of a gift with most toppings, you know? Like, I'll throw in cheese and beans. That's about it, probably. I don't think any of the other kind of topping varietals that people use with Cincinnati chili would be my style. But I definitely think, like, if I find, like, a good Cincinnati chili recipe, that would be something that I could use. Not for regular chili, but, like, I could dig that as, like, a topping, you know?
Yeah, personally,
Make myself a sloppy Joe by putting Cincinnati chili on a burger patty.
Yeah,
Be
personally,
much better than the actual
I'll
recipes.
try
for
just about anything once. It's pretty rare for me to see something I won't try. A lot of stuff I won't
Hold your
like.
ground here.
But I'm
Consider
very
it
much
done.
the person who's willing to
Stay
try
close.
new stuff and weird flavor combinations just in case I actually find out I like it.
That's understandable.
It's happened often enough that I'm willing to trust that my brain does not understand what good food looks like.
I want no part of you.
Well, the answer is simple. It looks like food.
Stranger man, truly.
Nah, that can't be it. Makes no sense. Why would good food look like food?
Makes no damn sense. Compels me, though. Quickie says, woo, neurodivergency. Woo! Can I get a hell yeah?
This is where you wait. Send
Not
word
vocally
when
or out
it's
loud,
right.
but yes. You know, some of these missions are just really fucking fast.
Oh, hey, the villa's chest is full. 48,017. Or,
We've missed
flowers.
like 20,000 plus gold, I think, at this point, by not returning to the villa.
I feel like we're obligated to do it at some point, but also I don't know if we care that much.
Yeah, we're at the point where we don't need the money, so... I've
We're
got...
also probably getting within reach of where we're going to want to end our stream for tonight.
Yeah, I'm thinking like one more mission.
Because yeah, we're up to 9:30. And normally I would necessarily go a little bit later, but I've been shifting my schedule around a little bit lately because the hot weather has arrived, at least you know, in this area and in this this hemisphere, in this part of the world, this time of year, localized entirely to.
And considering climate change and the censored.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, like it was 90 today out here. And it's supposed to be 90 again tomorrow.
I think it was high 80s where I live.
And then I think
not much
Saturday is supposed to be 88. So technically better.
So we're basically like September in Phoenix at this point.
Well, I mean, it is like late June.
I know.
So,
but I don't really think we should. It's not favorable to compare it to Arizona.
That's true.
We are not in a place.
But I think it would be
to
hotter than that in September in Arizona, based on being in Arizona. Ever.
90s. September is 90s. It's dropped down to like 70s, 30s in winter. Goes up to about 100, 110 in
Yes.
summer.
All your men are
Doesn't it
in
get
place.
really cold in the winters down there? Like the kind of
When I was down
rain
this-
does that.
I assume
I
you know
mean,
how it works.
sort of. But like when I was down there,
Find
it
the
was
highest
like
point you can in the
70
district.
most nights, and I
Pirate
spent an
from
entire December there
This
once.
signals my men to begin the attack.
Yeah, it
All
was
right,
warm
then.
enough that we were
I
going
will see you
swimming
on
in the
the
outdoor pool
battlefield.
of our rented
That
house.
you will.
But yeah, point being, I do a lot of outdoor exercise. I go for pretty frequent like walks or jogs or whatever. And normally that's something I go and do after work. Because that's kind of more in my schedule. I would much rather sleep, barely jog myself out of bed in time to go to work, and then do shit afterwards. That is a little bit more my usual speed. But the fact is, if I went and did that, like today, for example, it would have been 90 degrees out. Because getting off work is the exact peak like heat of the day, and it's not good. Don't like that. So now that like basically my like general kind of rule of thumb ever since I started doing this last year is once it kind of hits about 85, that's the point where I'm going to start getting up early and going for my workout before work instead. So I was able to go this morning when it was like 55 out, wear my sweatpants and everything.
Ended poorly.
Yeah, get to like wear my sweatpants and my vest and everything in the nice 55-degree mild weather in the morning, and then come back do my work and be totally free afterwards, and not have to go outside when it's 90 degrees.
Yeah, I don't really mind it nearly as much.
I hate heat,
Like,
personally.
same, but not enough that I let it affect most of my day-to-day unless it's like high 90s.
Fact is, I think it's really miserable, like walking for like an extended period of time outside when it's 90 degrees. So if I was out there walking for like an hour and a half
Hey, fireworks.
in 90-degree weather, it would not be good. It would not be fun.
That's right. Yeah, I only normally go for like half an hour to an hour walk.
Yeah, I tend to be like an hour and a half, sometimes two on a weekend. I do pretty long workout walks, a lot of the time at least. And it's just, I don't know, it's just much more comfortable for me to I'm willing to deal with like getting up early, to have mild, chill weather where I can wear my vest that I like.
Wow, he's useless.
And then, come back afterwards and get the rest done. So in this case, I took care of that, went and did a couple of chores with my grandma, came back here, played a little bit of the new Shadow of the Erd Tree, only for about 20 minutes, and then got ready for stream.
Must return to l'Arsenale.
Yeah. And as much as I would like to, I am probably not going to start immediately playing Shadow of the Erd Tree after stream.
By all means.
I may play a little bit, but like not very much.
Yeah,
I'm going to be getting ready for bed so that I can get up bright and early tomorrow to go for a walk before work, so that after work I'm free and don't have to deal with Friday traffic or 90-degree temperatures, and thank God, not both.
Where? I
I
started
don't care if the AC works.
playthrough like
Not fun.
what was it, 2 months ago, I think, in preparation for Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Piggy says he's doing his best. I don't know if he is, but,
Fine specimen, isn't he?
we're alright.
You should be honored.
Dante Mora, revenge on his best. Finally.
Come on! We need to stop that grassone bastard!
Okay, I guess I'm not taking part in that fight.
Very
You think I don't know why you're here?
Piggy says, it never said his best was good.
Yeah, no, we just straight up can't interfere. You think I can punch him? Okay, I can punch him. I just can't interfere with my hitting moves.
What were you saying before? Piggy sound?
Something.
Starting a new playthrough.
Right, I was starting a new playthrough, a couple months back. Okay, I also can't stab him? I guess you can This is a weird fight.
I'm assuming he's meant to be programmed to be immune to assassination.
Which makes him immune to most attacks, yeah. As far as I can tell.
You're falling to the ground! Come for the other. Your uncle, your mother, your sweet sister. Yes. Perhaps I'll spare them, if only to provide us with some much-needed entertainment on the voice. It can get quite lonely out at sea.
Good thing you got that Altair armor.
Yeah, you might not be able to counter him either? I can't tell.
Enough of this! We're out of time! Return
That was
to
a
me! We
weird
must
fight.
depart!
Ezio, go now! That brute will no doubt lead you straight to his master.
Like, the
My
fact
men
that he
and I will
doesn't
remain
use
here
most,
and
doesn't
keep the
interact
dogs
with
from
most
getting
of the
chased.
normal combat stuff, made that probably the hardest fight in the
Hurry!
game so
They're
far.
going to leave without
I
us!
assume you're supposed to use a sword?
I mean, probably, but even then, even my unarmed attacks, which are...
He says I think he just had to speak. It is possible it might have been...
I had to drop his health to 0 first, unfortunately. It was... he didn't start talking until after he was already at 0 health.
Ah! You won't outrun me!
Screw are you?
You will not get through, Stronzo! I'm with you, fratello!
Very slick.
I'm with you!
It's ridiculous how useful breaking line sight is.
Good.
Even if it's not that. Okay, I don't know why that went by.
I'm with you, compadre!
What's happened here? Why the boats? I thought you saw the Doge's seat.
Just a distraction. We were meant to sail.
Sail where?
I'll never tell. Cyprus is their destination. They want...
Non temete l'oscurità. Accettate il suo abbraccio.
Requiescat in pace.
Requiescant in pace.
Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
Cyprus. Gross.
Well done, Ezio. Silvio is defeated, and the military district is returned to us. Perhaps now Venezia might finally enjoy a bit of pace e tranquillità. We should celebrate this victory!
I am glad for you and your men, Bartolomeo. But I cannot join.
Bartolome.
I fear my work has just taken a rather strange turn.
What do you mean?
Silvio wasn't looking to replace Marco as Doge. He was about to leave Venezia, in fact. This whole thing was just a distraction.
Why?
That is what I need to find out.
Why? I don't know.
Taking over Venice as a distraction is the most ridiculous possible B-plot.
That's some Blue Mage shit right there. Sequence 10. That means...
We were guessing there were, what, 12? But I think there's
it's
way more.
13, but some are cut out? Or something like that? Was it 14? I think it might be 14, but 11 through 13 are the bonus ones. But we have those enabled, I think? I don't know. We'll see.
Indeed. Now the bonus content will be interesting, so I didn't ever do it in my original playthrough.
I think I did, but honestly, I don't know for sure. My memories of this stuff are all a little bit
There
vague.
you are, Ezio.
It's like 14.
It's my birthday.
There's 14 and 12 and
100
13
di questi
are
giorni.
removed.
That's wonderful.
Or were
Is
later
it?
added in.
It's been over 10 years since I watched my father and brothers die. 10 years hunting the men responsible.
Wow, you don't look like it's been 10
So
years.
close to
Ezio.
the end now, but
You've aged very gracefully.
closer
Indeed.
to
Though I
understanding
imagine
what
the
that
hood
yacht
helps.
was for.
You may not see it, Ezio, but it's better
I'm sure
for
the
you because of the
Alphasaurus
things
family
you've done.
is known for its good genes.
Basta. Look
Especially
here.
in this universe.
I have a birthday
Yeah,
present for
okay.
you. It's L'Arsenal's shipping manifest. From the day the boat left.
The boat to Cyprus. You're serious?
And guess when it's scheduled to return? Tomorrow.
Ezio,
Leonardo, when did you get back?
just now. I need to talk to you.
My
right
two
away.
favorite people.
Go on.
Don't worry,
Have
it's
fun,
okay.
boys.
Ezio has two
It's better
hands.
be good.
Oh, it is. It
And
is.
she
Walk
realizes
with me.
she's the
Stay
side
close.
piece in this relationship.
These last two
But it's
copies.
okay because he has two
I was
hands.
studying the copies. I don't know why I never saw it before. But when put together, I realized the markings on the back clarify into words. Here, the prophet will appear when the second piece is brought to the floating city.
Prophet. Only the prophet may open it. 2 pieces of Eden.
What are you saying? Ezio, what is this?
We've known each other a long time, Leonardo. If I can't trust you, there is nobody. My uncle Mario spoke
Literally,
of it
his
long
single
ago.
closest relationship.
Prophecy hidden in the Codex, leading to an ancient vault that holds something very powerful.
Grandioso. But if you took these pages from
Grandioso.
Barbarigo, then maybe they know about this vault too. That's not good.
Wait. What if that's why they sent the ship to Cyprus? To find this piece of Eden and bring it back to Venezia.
When the second piece is brought to the floating city,
The prophet will appear. Only the prophet can open the vault. My God! When my uncle told me about the Codex, I was too young, too brash to imagine it was anything but an old man's fantasy. But now I see.
Too young and too brash to
Killing
say
of
it like you're not
Mocenigo.
those things.
Even the
It's
Medici.
been 10 years.
My father and brothers. It was all part of his plan. To find the vault. The Spaniard.
Rodrigo Borgia.
The boat from Cyprus arrives tomorrow. I plan to be there to meet it.
Very dramatic. They really are kicking it into gear.
Yeah. I mean, in the original game, we've got 2 sequences left.
I think so. I'm going to have to look it up after stream just for my own peace of mind.
You're finished, Throne.
That's a lot of guys.
It'll be fine. Look, most of them are already dead.
Don't worry, I can take 8 guards.
That went way too well.
In a fight, right? Well, an assassination, maybe. Yeah, that like opening surprise round window is way longer than a later game.
It really should not be that long.
I think they upped the enemy's awareness significantly in later games.
Because you should not be able to kill 7 guys in the surprise round.
As Picky said, oh no. I'm not sure which part that's about, but you know what? It doesn't matter.
Correct.
You're correct no matter what you were talking about.
Okay, now it's a high-speed chase.
I see him.
Alright, now it's a chase.
Oh no also happens to be the name of the little known
Martial artist doctor?
the little known secondary protagonist of a primary piece of Masterverse media, where we have the lesser known cousin Ono Shiki.
Right. And here I thought we were talking about the martial artist doctor.
No, that's much worse.
He was a major character for like 2 chapters.
I'm pretty sure his name is not that.
Dr. Ono?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that was his last name.
I guess I just don't know what we're talking about then.
Ono and Hatter.
I guess I don't know about this like part.
Super early on, the Tendos have a family doctor, and then Rumiko just forgot he existed for the rest of the manga.
I mean, there was a doctor that's like relevant. There's Dr. Tofu, right? Or
Toku Ono, yeah.
is that his last name? I didn't know that. I knew he was a character. I didn't know that was part of his name. I guess.
I feel like I should totally be able to sync right here. Oh. Yeah, no, Toku Ono. He's the family doctor, disappears after like
based
book
on
2
how
or
people
3.
talk about him, I thought that he was a much longer recurring character.
Yeah, the problem is a significant chunk of the fandom has literally never read the manga or watched the anime.
Well, that's okay. It could be worse. They could be Ruby fans.
I didn't say it was a bad thing, but
that was quite the eagle dive.
It definitely means there's a lot of fanfic stuff that just people don't realize is a fanfic thing, like him being relevant for so long. Yeah, he just runs off to a different city or something, I think it is, if it's even explained at all. That might actually be fanfic stuff too.
Just ceases to matter to the plot.
Mm-hmm.
The classic fate. Alright. Well, we did finish our mission, and we finished one entire memory sequence.
We did.
So we probably are at a good stopping point.
We'll go back to the villa, cash in our
and we can drop off our codex pages.
Drop off our codex pages, check out some of them. Because all of the codex pages have actual stuff penned by Altair, which I always thought was a really cool element, especially when you think of like Desmond's final messages and what was it, Black Flag?
Oh no.
Yeah. Anyway, in one of the
Black Flag yet.
In one of the games,
reasons why we're doing this entire Assassin's Creed multi playthrough.
In one of the games, Desmond leaves behind a bunch of stuff in a similar style to Subject 16. And then I think you find them at the same time you find a bunch of files from Asparagos? My brain's calling me
Abstergo.
Abstergo, thank you. My brain really wants them to be called asbestos. Anyway, you find a bunch of files they had on their research into him. And you also find his final voice logs with them. And it's just really good.
Close that window.
Fair. Perfect.
I have unintentionally made a reference that reminded myself of something when I said that. It was just close enough in intonation to remind me of the specific phrasing used in something. And now I have remembered. EP value select fish hunt. Which is so funny.
What?
Is this guy who does like kind of like funny musical stuff that Wes used to like all the time. I still remember that one. It's good. It's not very long. If you don't remember, I'm gonna have to play it for after stream.
Yeah, I might have to.
Just
sounds.
You got pretty good progress there.
Yeah.
Let's see, because that's what 6x5 for 30.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Fleece.
Never seen. Oh, so this is the armor of Altair.
We have crafted something that will change the base of warfare, making this sword invincible. Perhaps it was a mistake to create these pieces. I think best we erase the formula. If we were to fall in the hands of our enemies, the risk is too great. Okay. Yeah, that is part of the armor.
And I forget what the last one we found was. What's the funny one we said?
We're missing about 10 or 11, I think. That's near that, so 19 out of 30 that we have. Which leads into something we're going to come into later, I believe. At least, I think that's what that's implying.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see the stuff that would play out 2, 3, or even more games later.
Yeah, they were really playing multi-dimensional chess with their meta plot.
Salute, Claudia.
It does make me wonder how much of them just throwing stuff at the wall to see what's stuck.
That is true.
Let's see, those are finished. Those are finished. We still need the feathers, codex pages,
Codex pages,
painting,
2 models, 6 seals.
and the portrait, of course. Which we get just from killing them. Equipment. We've got 6 armor pieces left. Only 13 weapons left. Okay, before we end off, I'm gonna head.
A presto, Ezio.
Yeah, actually, we can end it here, and I'll do some cleanup later.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah, that seems like a good place to end it.
Well, it's been real stream.
Yeah.
It was a very productive session.
Hope you enjoyed our minor technical difficulties.
Or at least they didn't bother you too much.
Mm-hmm.
And all things allowing, we will be back here once again next Thursday, same time, ready to play more Assassin's Creed 2, at least until we finish.
Mm-hmm.
At which point we will probably just jump right into the immediate follow-up, but I guess we'll see what our planning looks like.
Yeah, that's
once we get that far.
Brotherhood, I think is the next
I think it's Brotherhood and then it's Revelations.
Yeah,
so we've got Brotherhood first, so we will probably be playing Brotherhood once we finish this up, unless we take a short 1-week break off to do something else.
Yeah, honestly, Brotherhood might be my favorite Assassin's Creed. I don't remember, so it'll be interesting to go back into.
We'll see. We'll get plenty of chances to relive every part of the series as we play through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be fun.
Indeed.
Having a real one, really real history.
Yep, gotta love all of the factually accurate history on display here.
All right, and with that, I think we will be signing off.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for showing up.
Have a good one.